Rowley. Rowley. Grant. Put your drinks down. Rowley. That's what you were talking about, that wasn't it? That's what you were talking about, wasn't it? That's what you were talking about.
Good afternoon and welcome to Magic Park for semi-final football as Broadmeadow Magic gets set to host Weston with a grand final ticket on the line here at Magic Park. It's a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Chris McPherson joined by Ryan Deutsch. And Ryan, spring's started to spring. A little bit warmer today, some perfect football weather.
Yeah, the weather today is outstanding for a game of football. And, you know, what I would say about these two teams today is Broadmeadow Magic are going to absolutely want to ensure their progression through the playoffs continues throughout. They want to get to the final because what they want to do is they want to fill the time between now and the Australian Championships, right? So for them, this will be crucial. It absolutely won't be, in my opinion, about winning the league and then we're done. So they'll be approaching this game with every intentions of walking away with the victory. And then on the other side, you've got Weston Bears, who led the competition for a little bit of a time, and then dropped off, but cemented this match by their penalty win against Maitland. And, you know, I know Damien Zane, the head coach of Weston. He's been at Magic before. He knows what this ground's all about, and he's a born winner. So he will 100% be looking to get a good victory here today.
Well, it's the fourth time they'll meet this season. The results have been split and shared. Obviously, Weston knocked them out of the cup earlier in the season, and that was a huge scalp for Damien Zane. He talked about that when he spoke to Northern New South Wales Football in the lead-up, that they know how to beat Broadmeadow. The challenge for Weston, as you said, they sort of had a bit of a drop-off towards the back end of the season. There's a lot of change in their lineup, niggly injuries. Damien talked about the fact they've got players back. Jim Kresner's had the benefit of players coming in and continuing to bolster his squad, and that's when we'll have a look at a moment at the team list. You've got names like Ezra Palambini and Jack Simmons, just a couple on the bench. That is a pretty handy depth to be able to call on.
Yeah, and I think that's how Broadmeadow Magic have ultimately gone on and won what they've won, not just this year, but over the last couple of years, is because the depth in their squad and the quality within their squad is extremely high. So having that type of talent on the bench, being able to come on, influence a game, depending on scoreline, obviously, it's absolutely one of Broadmeadow's strengths.
Equally, as we touched on, players back for Weston, which means they have guys like their import Carson Wood, Ryan Ensor, a former Broadmeadow Magic player, and Chris Hatfield coming off the bench for them as well. So they've got firepower to match.
Yeah, they do, and Chris Hatfield's the name there that everybody will be probably expecting to see at some stage throughout this game. He absolutely can score goals, and I would have thought we would see him probably sooner rather than later.
It's an interesting one, and you certainly, when you look at this team list as we go through for Weston, Damien Zane has graduated some youth into the lineup. There's a good spattering there as we see the two teams make their way out, which is always something we know that Damien's known for in terms of developing the youth of the game.
Yeah, he is, and we know Damien very well at Northern New South Wales Football, with the work that he's done at our National Emerging Championships, but most recently the work that he did at Newcastle Jets Academy. And there's a lot of boys in that Premiership winning team for the Newcastle Jets that owe a lot to Damien Zane and his coaching and his stewardship whilst they were there. For me, both coaches today, really top caliber coaches within our region, and I'm looking forward to them to pitching off against each other.
Perfect timing as they exchange their little handshakes, a few little smirks between the two of them. They know each other well. Let's have a look at these two team lineups. Let's start with Weston, the visitors. In goals, as he has been for the majority of the season, Jared Roebuck. Number 2 is Brock Beveridge. 3, Mana Iwasaki. 4, Dom Archibald. 6, Chris Hurley. 7, Connor Evans. 8, Dylan Burston. 11 is Blake Archibald. 15, Max Weddick. 16, the English import Luke McCormick. And 19, Nelson King. Their bench will be made up of Jack Butler, Ryan Blackburn, Chris Hatfield, Ryan Ensor, as we touched on, the former Broadmeadow Magic player that joined Weston this season from here, Carson Wood, Ashton Blank and Jai King, and they're coached by Damien Zane. On the flip side, Magic here at home in front of their home crowd, where they finished their regular season with a thumping 8-0 win over Charlestown Missouri only 2 weeks ago, and fresh off a week off. Have Daniel Axford in goals, Tom Beecham in 4, Will Ingram in 5, the Kiwi Harris Zeb in 6. The man who scored all 8 of those goals against Charlestown Missouri, absolutely outstanding, to seal the golden boot, Luis Lara Delgado, the Mexican superstar. The pace of Jared Baker in 11. And then the first of the 3 Kresners. 18 is Joey Kresner. 19, Keanu Moore. 20, the club captain, Jeremy Wilson. 21 is James Kresner. 23 is Jacob Kresner. The bench then, James Quang is the backup goalkeeper. Adam Sherritt, Jack Simmons, Zeke Marnes, Regan Jost, Ezra Palambini and Xavier Brown. And, of course, coached by Jim Kresner. You have to be on our toes today just picking the right Kresners.
Yeah, there's 4 of them out there, right?
Every time I come to Magic Park, I feel there's another one joining the lineup. But we are underway here. A grand final ticket on the line. Could it be decided in 90? Will Weston need extra time or maybe penalties again like they did last week up against Maitland? Only time will tell. But there is the man himself, Chris Hurley. Plenty of experience on the ball, plays it wide. The Archibalds, their names to watch. They'll be electric today. They will work their backsides off from opening whistle to the last opportunity they get. Ball back there and cleared away cleanly. Right, Joey Kresner, the first of the Kresners to get a touch. In terms of the shape and style of these two sides, we know both of them have flair. They've got guys who can attack. They can also sit in that block. Do you think they'll take some time early here, Ryan, just to sort of feel each other out, or is there maybe one of the sides coming out that's going to try and just get the jump, do you think?
What I would say about both sides is they're both quite aggressive, and that's absolutely by design. So what I would suggest is the first 15-20 minutes will probably, as you've suggested, about feeling each other out, but it'll be more of this, bit of turnover probably, recovering ball in high areas if possible. This boy on the ball I like, number 15, Max Weddig. So he came out of the Newcastle Jets and came in with Damien Zayn at Weston and has had a really quick impact at Weston. Interesting, he's up against Will Ingram today, who I really rate. I think he's probably the best fullback in the league, to be honest. So I'm looking to see if Max Weddig can get the best of Will Ingram, and if he does, then that probably shows you the level of talent that Max Weddig has, which I think is quite high.
Just noting too, there must have been a late change here, just trying to identify, because we've got Carson Wood out there for Weston, so we'll try and do some process of elimination and work out who's not out there as the ball's poked forward and then prodded away by Jeremy Wilson. Let's see if I can see Luke McCormick out there. That may be the change. The ball goes forward here from Hurley. Evans on the ball, plays it back across now. Iwasaki. Tom Archibald. Ball for Weddig, back to Archibald. Returns to Weddig. The youngsters combine here in Weddig and King. He's lost out over the sideline. All pushed back. Actually looks like Brock Beveridge. I can't spot Brock out there, so that might be the late change. Carson Wood in for Beveridge. That'll change the way their front third probably operates. Carson a much more mobile rather than target man leading the line.
Yeah, it looks like it's in that number 9 space. So that'll be interesting because Beveridge obviously is a top player. So I wonder if that's an injury maybe in the warm-up. That's something we can probably try and find out. But this is the difference in what Carson Wood can give you. He'll run in the channels, he'll run in behind. So it might change Weston's approach a little bit, mainly from going from that back third into the front third, because it means Broadmeadow Magic now have something else to worry about, and that's probably stretching the line and the spacing behind. So that'll be interesting to keep their eye on. But what I would say about Weston's front three now is that it's got a whole lot of pace. So I wonder if that's what Jim Kresner was expecting in the build-up to this game.
You would think that Tom Beecham probably came in thinking he was going to be doing a job on Brock Beveridge. He's that stand-up physical defender. I mean, he can move as well, but that'll reset, as you say, his mindset now. He knows he's going to have to be on his bike if there's through balls coming, etc. And maybe that just wears them down a little. But again, they've got a very versatile back line with the likes of that man you touched on before in Ingram, and you throw in a Joey Kresner and his youth as well there at centre back alongside Tom Beecham. So we'll see how it plays out. The ball pushed forward here by Moore, lofted into the box. Opportunity, awkward bounce, tapped away there by McCormick and pushed wide. Jacob Kresner on the ball. The sun pokes back out from behind the clouds and gives us the full feeling of its warmth.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not in that warmth in this in the commentary box right now. We're absolutely in the shade, and I think I'll be putting my coat on very soon.
Yeah, certainly. I was about to say, I think the temperature by the end of this game will be very different to what it is for 90% of the field right now. I expect these shadows will be most of the way, if not all the way, across the pitch by the time we get to closing in on 6 p.m. when we get to the end of regulation time. Who knows? We may need more. We did see the reserve grade game, obviously, Ryan, went to no extra time for them, but was locked at 0-0 and went straight to a penalty shootout that went 9 or 10 players deep in the end. I was waiting to see goalkeeper on goalkeeper stuff because that's what everyone wants to see in a shootout.
Yeah, and look at Newcastle Olympic. That's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel for them from coming out of this season. Obviously, they've had disappointing results in both the men's and the women's space this year. So I think it'll be a season for them to tie a bow on. Maybe their reserve grade can come away with something and probably move on to the next chapter in their journey.
Here goes Carson Wood, just gets the jump. Broadmeadow looking for the offside, wasn't given. And Joey Kresner sends it clear. If in doubt, kick it out, and he'd subscribe to that, and it'll be a corner, the first of the match, and it'll be Luke McCormick to take it. If I'm not mistaken, I think Newcastle Olympic were in the reserve grade grand final in the men's last year as well, so the depth's obviously there, so undoubtedly with a new coach coming in next year, Leo Bertos, maybe we'll see a little bit of a change of fortunes. We'll wait and see. There'll be a lot of players undoubtedly moving on the player carousel as there is each off-season. Here comes the ball from the corner from McCormick, dangerously in, punched away for the time being. Maxford did well. And Zeb gets the ball clear into the midfield third. Archibald brings it down, and just unfortunate for Jared Baker there. His hand was in the wrong spot and the ball caught it on the way through. There was no real play at the ball, but unnatural position. It's going to go against him.
Yeah, it probably was, in fairness. What I would say is the goalkeeper done really well for me on that corner. It was hung right under the crossbar from McCormack. It was a decent delivery to that front post. Keeper was brave, came out and got good connection on it, which was cleared up by Zeb. So let's see how he deals with this one.
Blake Archibald over the dead ball here. Dangerous position. Curling it in towards that back post. Little header on, brought down in contest. Cleared away. Wasn't pretty, but it was effective enough for the time being from Magic. Now they push it wide to that man in McCormick. And a real impact since he's joined the side mid-season. Curled into the box dangerously by Hurley. Good header away by Ingram. Not completely clear though. Archibald floats it in looking for Wood. And the height of Beecham wins out. Here's a good challenge. Both players' arms tangled on each other and the referee says play on.
I think Max Weddig will be disappointed with the first attempt at his header. He didn't get enough purchase on it that he wanted to do. And normally in and around those boxes, those kind of chances for Max, he likes to snap up. So I think he'll be a little bit disappointed. In the end, it was a little bit scrappy in the box, but Broadmeadow did well to defend effectively.
He's waiting for the second ball to be cleared off the field. It'll be a huge moment for some of these youngsters, especially, there's Joey Kresner, obviously, as we see him on the ball now, but there's a number of these players that are still in their teen years. For a lot of them, it would be their first big matches at this sort of level. Obviously, the Weston players had last week, and that effort over 120 minutes and then penalties against Maitland. It's a real testing and a real character-building sort of time in your early years. And then you've got some other players out there, like that man that just raised his arm looking for the offside in Beecham, who he would have lost count of how many of these big games he's played in. Through ball that beats the runner. Is advancing forward there in Delgado. Hurley just cleans up at the back. Iwasaki pushes down here. Archibald back to Iwasaki.
So this is twice now Weston have played that kind of a pass. And this time he's offside, and it was very tight, I will say that. I'm unsure, and I've probably not got the best line. It looks like the linesman's right in line with that. But what I would say is Weston have tried that a couple of times now and have been successful in it. I think what the game plan is from Damien saying here is we're going to try and suck Magic into one side and then try and get out the other side as quickly as possible, because Jim likes to set his Broadmeadow side up quite narrow at times when they're defending in that 4-4-2 because he likes to defend the central areas effectively. So I think what Damien's trying to do here is trying to exploit wide areas, shift it to one side and then quickly out to the other side if they can. And like I said, that's two warning signs now, because McCormack on that side is a top player.
He certainly is, and you've got a number of players. Chris Hurley's made a career of those diagonal passes. Obviously, Archibald's been learning from one of the best as well, as we've seen from those couple of deliveries. So when you've got guys that can deliver it that well, the pace and such a big surface to play on like you do here at Magic Park against a team that, as you said, is known for defending compactly, there's a good chance to try and play to it, as we see McCormick just taking a moment to get back to his feet.
Yeah, and it's not... it's not just the long ball out from centre back into winger, but you've got Connor Evans there on the middle of the park on the ball now. He's very, very tidy. Look at the space he's got there. Broadmeadow coaches are not happy at all. Look at that,
through
lovely.
For Archibald into the box. Good clutch defending, just last line, timed the touch. It could have been very easy to go wrong and timed it to perfection, and we'll have another corner here. Jim Kresner already very animated would be a fair way to describe him.
Because that's what happens, right, is you go along, Broadmeadow Magic adjust, and then you can start to play through them. And when you got Connor Evans on the ball, he's very good with the ball at his feet.
Interesting, just two players, from Weston initially inside the 6-yard box, and they bring a wave of 3. Trying some different things. Iwasaki gets up, ball pinballs around, not cleared away. Trigger pulled by Archibald. Might have liked to have that again, but if you get a chance at the top of the box like that, you've got to try and pull the trigger. Creating some dangerous opportunities early, Weston. You talked about that aggressive style of play, Ryan, and they're certainly living up to that. Tony Kresner, playing forward. Managed to hang on with his brother James. And Jared Baker. Oh, he takes the coach out.
Tidy from Kresner there. You mentioned earlier there's about 45 of them out on there on the field. But what I would say is each one of them has a level of quality. This boy here on the ball now, young boy, big boy. And then you got James and Jacob, who are actually in the All-Stars team. So that shows you the level of quality that family's got. And even their dad Jim played at this level as well with Magic and won many things with them. So a lot of talent in that family.
There certainly is, and obviously he's won quite a few trophies now as the man at the helm. They've had a real sustained run of success, and it's easy enough to forget that the eldest of them is just 25. So they could be a sustained part of this club, or Northern New South Wales, or to be fair, even higher honours in the coming years. So certainly names to watch on the broader football scene.
And look, they'll be on show there, right? Because they're in the Australian Championship. We saw last year it doesn't take very many games for teams in Melbourne, A-League teams in Queensland to be sniffing around. We all know those types of clubs. Here's that long ball again, look. Not with as much quality this time, but you can see the idea. We all know those clubs have got a lot of cash behind them. They're almost run as well as, or if better than, A-League clubs nowadays, right? So if they do well in the Australian Championships, there's every opportunity.
It certainly is. We saw last year, I think, South Melbourne played against Broadmeadow, and they went on a bit of a spree with buying players. I mean, they entered into that OFC Pro League as well. So some of the opportunities that can come now with the extra competitions that we have either right here or on our doorstep means there's great opportunities for players. And as much as we'd love to see them, as Baker plays this into the box here, and what about the reaction time there? Jared Roebuck comes flying out and takes the ball off the toes of the attacker. As much as we'd love to see them here for another decade plus, you certainly won't begrudge them going and taking an opportunity to make some money, as we've seen a few do in recent years. Young Weddick gets down there, but the defence of Kresner cleans it up. Two young men going toe-to-toe.
First real chance of us seeing Broadmeadow Magic in their stride. They connected well in the middle of the park and then broke free with Baker and Ingram linking up well. So first sign really of Broadmeadow Magic looking to get him behind, but the keeper was really strong there. I liked that a lot.
Good defending just here at the other end now, with Kresner just muscling Wood and the ball over the line and earning his team a goal kick. Both sides are looking promising when they get their opportunities. You said Broadmeadows has just been a little more limited in the early exchanges here. And look at wide here to Ingram. Drives it, picked off by Evans. Archibald brings it down to Weddick, can't quite control it. Come over the sideline for a throw. Ingram looking at the long throw here. Down to Delgado. Iwasaki unawares when he didn't get any contact on it, but now Kresner racing down the left. That's James crossing it over. Opportunity here for Harris Zeb to get the first attempt away for Broadmeadow on goal. Not to be the case. It falls for Moore. Flicks it away and then cleared up by Weston. Down to Wilson, who's stumbled over his own boots there. Jacob Kresner now feeding it across. They drop it all the way back to defence with his brother Joey. He'll play wide to Ingram. Back to Joey Kresner. tempting Carson Wood there. It wasn't far away from that pass to his centre-back partner in Beecham, who plays it forward looking for Delgado. It's a little more angle than he might have intended. And Roebuck will be out to it. See the build-up starting to occur a little more now with Broadmeadow getting just a bit more of the football. He decides to go back to Roebuck. It's an awkward one, just bobbles for him. Oh, he's had an air swing out of trouble here. And he takes down Crescent in the box. Does he? No. The referee says ball, play on. The referee right on the spot there, so he's certainly got to go with him every time in that case, Ryan.
We're pretty far away from here, and it's very difficult to see. The referee, what I would say about him, he was right on the spot there, and the goalkeeper did come out with the ball. So that's probably influencing the referee's decision, the fact that the goalkeeper's got up and the ball's it's not like it's rolled away or it's been kicked away by the striker. The keeper's come out with it, right?
There's McCormick.
So I think probably right decision for me, not having seen it back yet.
Yeah, we're a fair way away and we don't have the benefit of a replay, but again, as you say, he's on that spot there. And the other thing that is usually give way to is the quick protest from Broadmeadow very quickly disappeared as well, which normally if they genuinely feel they've been aggrieved, it'll extend from someone. Ball into the box here, Wood. Back on for Archbold, pulls the trigger. Nice header away by Moore. Delgado pops it back for James Cresner. Now Delgado, the danger man. The Mexican races away here. He gets to the outside of Hurley. Iwasaki tucks in behind. Delgado goes goal side, takes a strike. Oh, the bounce. I thought that Cresner was going to finish. It just popped right up off the turf, and that saved Jaron Roebuck's bacon. End-to-end football at the moment. Neither side shy on pulling the trigger. Wonderful finals football. Absolutely what you want to be seeing at this time of year. Beecham probes forward, lays it off for Jacob Cresner, who cuts back towards the 18-yard box, floats it in dangerously. Roebuck reads it well and picks it up at the near post. Straight away a counter-attack. It is frenetic here early. McCormick, he timed the pass here, out in front for Weddig. Plays it off Boots. Deflection. Beecham with a bicycle. Normally when you see those in the 18-yard box, they're going the other way. Now this for football. The only place you'd want to be if you're not here is tuning into the Northern New South Wales YouTube channel. Watching this game as there's a firm tackle there from Archibald, taking the ball away from Harris. They play it wide from Burston now onto Wood. Wood with the cutback. Feeds it now to King. Keanu Moore, ball deflects and just cleared away. Again, decision making from Joey Cresner, solid again.
What a great 5-minute period of football that was. I hope it stays like this for the rest of the afternoon. But this is the aggression that I'm talking about from both teams. I don't know where to start with what I've just seen. It was a really top passage of play, and like I said, I hope it continues for the rest of the afternoon.
We'll certainly have some very fatigued players by the end, and probably a couple of fatigued commentators that keeps up at this rate. But here goes McCormick again, getting to the outside. Cresner recovers. He plays it into Leaks there, realised nothing was presenting, and Beecham parries it over the byline for another corner.
So Cresner did really well there, because McCormack, we've already talked about his quality. He actually gets on the outside of Cresner, and for a second there it looked like he'd gone past him inside the box. What Cresner does really well is he manages to use his body, really good 1v1 defending, uses his body, gets his arm back across the attacker and manages to step back across him and stop him going any further.
Seen some dangerous delivery from McCormick from the set piece here. He's curling it in again. Just parried, not completely cleared. Beecham gets the second header away and it'll go out for a corner on the other side, and this time they'll go to the boot of their veteran centre-back in Chris Hurley.
Yeah, second one for McCormack, where he's just kind of put it under the crossbar. Keeper didn't look quite as assured, still got contact on it, but it did need his defender to help him out. So it'll be interesting if they continue to use this approach here for set pieces.
Captain, he's been a long-serving man at the club, Hurley. Been there since 2019. Would love nothing more than to steer them towards a championship. Curls this in to the back post, headed away by Harris Zeb, and we'll go third corner in a row. Will third time be the charm? It'll be McCormick again, you'd expect. And away he goes over there, ready to take it, the Englishman. Jim Kresner full of voice.
So I'm not sure if you can see it on your screen right now, just in front of the goal box, but you can see a lot of players inside that area. That's McCormick's target.
There's the short one there instead. Commentators curse right as soon as
Yeah.
we start identifying those things.
Well, it's funny that because, and I see it a lot, where you get success, players get success, and then they try and change what they're doing, and I don't understand why, because that's 2 or 3 now where, they've been dangerous from corners.
Wood tries to play it in the box. Archibald finishes across the face. Oh, that was very close. Assistant referee said there was a deflection on it, and we're going to go to the corner. That was a good call.
I think it's a top save. Because that's going gold bound for me. Fantastic play with Weston. That's the difference between the striker Carson Wood and Brock, because Carson Wood will run into those channels, so players can come on the inside of him and make those kind of chances. Top save for me.
So Hurley again, the captain. Try and deliver. Let's see if he sticks to consistency rather than variation. Drills it again towards that back post. Beats everyone. Interesting, Manu Iwasaki clear of the target there, and again some really smart defending from Jacob Kresner in this case. He's got that body on the arm across and just guided Iwasaki away from the ball, and it found a space through everyone, which seemed improbable with the number of bodies in that box. I'll tell you what, if you've bought yourself a ticket in here today, you've more than got your price of admissions value already, and we're less than half an hour into this game. Go long here. He's headed on by Delgado, brought back. Iwasaki brings it down. Archibald pulls up. Deflected into the boot. Watch out, Delgado getting free close to the edge of the box. Up against young Nelson King. Nelson King needs to be careful. He's going in fairly agricultural. Didn't make any contact though, Baker. Little pullback. Cuts away to the outside. Feeds it out in front of Moore. Moore's got a little space. Not enough for him to venture forward and in towards the 18-yard box. Reddick does well just to break that pass up, and now they've got to go backwards to Kresner and all the way back to Axford here and reset this attacking move. Bears pressing here. Carson Wood just pushing up, forcing the pass from Axford. Joey Kresner's got a little bit of space in front of him. He'll take it on, plays it wide to Ingram now. He feeds it down. Nice little touch on for Delgado. Into the box now, James Kresner. Feeds it across, but the flag goes up. Jump the gun.
Jim Kresner will be a lot happier with that for Broadmeadow Magic. A little bit of a period of possession. You know, they didn't rush things. Weston are doing really well, actually, and what Broadmeadow needed to do was just soak up a little bit of that pressure, which they started to do. They weren't rushing it. They were trying to play through, being brave in possession, and almost just offside. Looked to get in behind Weston, but almost just offside. But Broadmeadow Magic needed to probably do that just to kind of reset themselves.
Iwasaki getting the ball in behind for Wood, just a little heavy. He's trying to set a foot race against Beecham, but Axford was well and truly up for that. He knew that was the opportunity and had himself positioned fairly forward in that 18-yard box as Harris gets away, loses his footing. Referee says play on. Hurley versus Delgado. Delgado wins out, gets into the 18-yard box. Can he find a teammate? Kresner makes a run. Little push there from Manu Iwasaki on the ball. Does well and takes it away. McCormick retreats back. Pickpockets Harris. Turns him inside out. Gets a very gentle touch. And the referee judges. That's what brought him to ground. So it will be a free kick.
I've enjoyed watching McCormick play this year. He's a top talent for me, and again he's one that's been selected in the All-Stars squad. So looking forward to if selected by the coaching team, looking forward to watching him in that game for sure.
They've made a bit of a name in the last couple of years, Weston, in finding these absolutely outstanding individuals as imports. Obviously, Burke Farling was, barring one moment of madness, at the end of last season was, one of the best players in the league. Both work rate and talent. as Archibald feeds it in. And then this year, both McCormick and Wood have both shown some, McCormick probably a bit more sustained, but Wood's shown some really individual moments of brilliance as well. As I say that, he forces a pass to an offside player.
Yeah, I don't think it was actually intended for Max Weddig. I think it was for more Archibald coming back for that 1-2, that war pass. There was just a bit of a confusion in communication there, and ultimately Max, he'd ran for the first one, which put him offside, and then he thought probably that was for him for the second one, but I think it was probably more for Archibald.
It's end to end at the moment, both sides creating some wonderful flowing football. Showing why they've been two of the top sides throughout the season. Of course, over the next few weeks, make sure to stay tuned to the Northern New South Wales YouTube channel, because you get all of your men's and women's NPL. You've got the promotion relegation playoffs as well that have been happening. And we've got the semi-finals today and tomorrow there. So much football. And it's all there live and free. Tomorrow we'll be at Cook Square Park for the minor semi-final. Season's on the line for Maitland and Edgeworth. All pushed into the box here, headed away by Burston. McCormick tries to bring it down. Moore comes away. Kresner cleans up and passes. Jacob passes it back to Joey. So speaking of that, Cahiba did get the win again today against New London, 3-0 in the end. So I think that makes it 5-1 on aggregate. That they will progress to next week's promotion relegation playoff, where they'll play the winner of Walden and Newcastle Croatia, Ryan, which is stunningly, after just one leg of 90 minutes, poised at 6-all.
Yeah, I saw that last week, and you know what? There was some unbelievable goals in that game, and they were all different types of goals. So I was really pleased to see that. Maybe not so much on the defensive aspect of the game, but I was chatting to the coaches this week from both clubs, and because there's no away goals, effectively it's just like a 1-1 game, right? It may as well have been a 1-1 game, not for us neutrals, but in terms of advantages, the advantage probably does sit with Wallsend, because Newcastle Croatia were at home, so they lose that home advantage now, and I think probably Wallsend will be fancying their chances to get into that promotion relegation playoff, which won't be easy against Cahiba. Blair Newham's got those set up really well.
It certainly does. They came close. That comeback on the last day against Cooks Hill late, I think, woulda, coulda, shoulda, but another 10 minutes or so, that would have been a very interesting game after a pretty sluggish start that Blair would admit to in that game.
Yeah, but, he's done really well with Cahiba this year for me. If you look at the league table alone, you'll say, they probably ended up where you thought they would do. But he had a whole heap of injuries throughout the season. He stuck to his guns throughout, and for me, he's had a really great season, and one that he should be really proud of.
I think one of their Dutch imports, who everyone had sort of earmarked as maybe one of the players to watch in terms of imports across the league, and certainly one of their key players, barely played a minute, Jules Boss. That's a big out.
Yeah.
They're relying on a couple of guys in their 40s as the core of the team too. And I did make a joke to Blair the other day that it's great to just see them playing more games for Cahiba, as many as they can this season, because it just means that Robbie Turnbull's got to play more games, because I think he's ready to hang them up, he keeps telling people. The opportunity here, parried away, brought down. Oh, what about the defensive effort there? Jeremy Wilson sliding back and gets a big hug from his keeper, because Daniel Axford knows, as much as he was up to it there on the first save, if Wilson doesn't get that, it's probably buried in the back of the net.
And you know what? Everybody's surrounded Jeremy Wilson there, because that for me is as good as a goal. That's as good as a goal. It's a fantastic tackle there. Last-ditch tackle, determined not to concede a goal. What a challenge, Jeremy Wilson. Well done, son.
Here comes McCormick now. He'll look to curl it in. Leaves it short this time. Deflected off. Harris. Touched on it before, Ryan. Worked so well the first couple, especially with that sun just starting to dip even further. It's going to be harder for Daniel Axford as it comes across him. But I don't know whether that one was just mishit or whether they were trying something different again.
No, just a mishit from me. You can see that it was the same type of style, right? Dropping it on that front post. He just probably didn't get enough on it, that's all.
Straight away, Broadmeadow looked to counter. Harris Zeb plays it forward. Joseph Kresner. Not quite the pass he was looking for, and Archibald will send it into the demountables here on the hill at Magic Park. So they're doing a little bit of work over there on the hill, Ryan, just getting things up to speed for Oz Champs maybe for later in the year.
Do you know what? The Broadmeadow Magic president, he does all that stuff himself. He is always here. I don't know what he does for a job outside of this, but he must have 2 full-time jobs because he's here just as much.
County Moore looking to curl it in, deflected away by Burston, and we'll have a corner for Magic.
And what gets me about, you know, our NPL clubs here in Northern New South Wales football is behind the quality that you're seeing on field right now is we have incredible volunteers that do give their time and their effort and their commitment, and it's people like the Broadmeadow Magic president who's out there day in, day out, creating these environments for these players, these youth players, and it's a real credit to him and all the volunteers that are in our region.
Certainly is, as we see this one curled in to the back post, beats all of them, headed away off target, and Weston will have a goal kick to come. You touch on it. It basically is, if you're any of those senior committee members especially, it basically is a full-time job. There's a lot of businesses out there too that a lot of them are running their own businesses, but there's a lot of businesses that support local football, not just through sponsorship, but by the provision of time that they're paying staff for, that they allow to do those sorts of things as well. And you know, it's quite the ecosystem. It's especially when you've got a club, you know, like Broadmeadow that are essentially playing football 11 months of the year. Here goes Max Weddig down the side. And again, that battle of the 2 youngsters there, Weddig v Kresner, and Kresner just timed that well.
Broadmeadow Magic aren't quite at the races see with their press. In the front 2 press between Lara and Kresner, they're getting it wrong. And Weston are able to play through them right now into some dangerous areas, which released Max Weddig because Will Ingram actually had to step out when he shouldn't need to. And it all stems from that press from Broadmeadow Magic's front 2, Kresner and Lara, and they're getting it wrong right now, and Weston are taking full advantage of it.
I just picked up while you were saying that Luis Lara Delgado may have been getting that conversation from one of the coaching staff. He didn't like the feedback too much, I can tell you. So he's probably thinking, I scored 8 goals last game we played. What are you getting into me about? But that doesn't help you in this one because those don't carry over. What is that golden boot trophy? But now standing here, 29 goals. Good for Max Gwelly. I think he finished with Marco Gwelly. Sorry, I think he finished with 25, and until the last round, probably thought he had one hand on that trophy. Look at the effort there from Max Weddig just to go and retrieve that ball inside the sideline and try and put a ball into play.
He'll do it all day, Max Weddig. He used to do it for us at Emerging Championships at Northern New South Wales football. He doesn't stop running. And for me, he's unlucky not to have been seen by national teams because for me, he's a top talent.
Beecham just got that wrong, and you can see from his face, that was not his intention there. He went sliding in and just got himself caught in the turf, which then tangled him with McCormick. There's an apology as they're both on the ground, but the referee had no option with the fact that his studs are up and he made contact, but to go to the book and put the yellow card in. So, of course, yellow cards are good news for the players as they do reset coming into the final series, and you need to get 3 to sit out a week. So, for a team like Broadmeadow, you're getting a red card if you're getting 3 yellow cards over 2 weeks heading to the grand final. So
yeah, and you know what? That's a smart decision from me around those card accumulation, because the reality is when you get to a grand final, when you're at this showpiece event, you want the best players playing. Okay, so because that's a yellow card, I agree. All day long, that's a yellow card, but he's not meant to do that. So if he gets 2 yellow cards for doing something like that throughout the period of 2 or 3 games, and then misses the grand final, you know, for me, that's where we have to protect the showpiece component of the event.
We certainly do. Here's McCormick again. We've seen the curl. He can get on the ball. What can he do here? Goes straight into Luis Lara Delgado's face in the wall. He'll be feeling that, the striker. Meanwhile, they press forward here. Weddig, deflected by Moore, who comes over the top. Archibald feeds it into the box. Not completely dealt with here. Evans will try and curl it in into the sun. Wood gets a head on it, deflected away. Iwasaki charging, pops it back. McCormick bouncing around. He's a ball of energy. Iwasaki pushing up on that left side. Nothing presenting in front, so he drops it back to Hurley. And then across to Burston. And things just cool a step there. One exception to that rule we're just talking about is coaches and team officials. They only get 2, which is fair enough, because if they're giving away yellow cards, it's not unintentional, realistically, is it? So here goes Broadmeadow. They're going to try. Lewis Lara Delgado was looking for a break on the counter. Chris Hurley, a little clip there on Harris Zeb. I think Harris Zeb might have realised he was going to get cleaned up and thought, well, I'll make sure I get a bit more of him so that I do get the foul, and that's part of the game we play.
Ref's been good so far for me. He's been close to the action. He's made solid decisions. He's not been card happy. He's had a solid start. There's not much in the game in terms of discipline. It's two strong teams, two aggressive teams that are going out, and for me, the ref so far has had a really good handle on it.
Certainly has, as we see Weddig try and control this one. I think people sometimes forget too, whilst players are trying to get to grand finals, as are officials. This is a competitive game for them. They spend a lot of time, just like the players do, dedicating to training, improving, getting better. It takes seasons to get to the NPL. It takes seasons in the NPL to get to a spot where you might be in the box seat or one of the two referees controlling these semi-finals this weekend. So this is the best of the best in our region as well. As Baker will go forward, taking on Archbold. He can hit the accelerator here. This will be a foot race indeed. Two very quick individuals. Mane Iwasaki, though, he just goes shoulder to shoulder and
great
says,
defending.
You can use pace, I'll use my strength.
Yeah, great defending. He read what Baker was going to do there. He knew Baker was going to go on the outside with his left foot, which is his strength, and he just stepped across him. Again, similar to the Broadmeadow Magic defender earlier on. Uses his body, steps across the defender, and just ushers the ball out. Great defending.
He's been a real anchor the last two seasons. Obviously for Magic, for Weston, they made it to the prelim last year. And fell short there to Lanton Jaffers up at Weston's ground. But he's been such a key part of that defence. Their runs into the Australia Cup major rounds as well. The last two seasons. As Weddig goes down, play on, says the referee. James Kresner gets a little touch from Connor Evans. I think James Kresner was getting up arguing at first, then realised, oh no, I've got the foul. It's okay, I'll carry on. Apologise to the referee and not on his way.
I think Max was trying to buy one earlier on, and the referee again got that spot on, and that the last one was right under the referee's nose, so probably an easy decision for him.
We've talked about it a few times on the commentary this season, and that balance of letting them play, and we saw one earlier on where there was two players tangling each other, grabbing each other, and both went to ground, and he said, well, if you boys want to both do it, away you go. And our referees have been very good at finding that happy medium for the majority of the season. As Keanu Moore plays it forward to Delgado. Tries to take on Archbold, and Archbold comes sliding in and just clubs it over the sideline. Then I'll have a throw deep in attacking territory. Right down here for Keanu Moore. Baker on. Cleared down the line. Carson Wood one-on-one with his opposite number. Takes it away. Bresner tries to use his strength, succeeds in using his strength, and again, that's some wonderful defending. Carson Wood, not so textbook, and may find his way into the book here. He's certainly going to get a talking to. He's a little rash, but I think it's just going to be a conversation here. It's not going to be anything major.
I agree. Good decision again from the referee. But that, for me, is probably the difference between Beveridge and Carson Wood. I think Beveridge there has enough about him to understand, okay, I'm 1 versus 3 here. We've just considered a throw-in line with our penalty box. I'm going to hold the ball up. I'm going to bring other players in. And then keep possession for Weston. Instead, now they're facing a set piece, and the possession's now closer to Weston's box.
Certainly, I thought it was really good management of the referee there too. Just taking that moment, didn't need to stop the play, but just to let the heat cool out of that moment. Because if it plays on, and then you have another infringement either way off the back of that, that's when it becomes a spark in a tinderbox as they try and float this one up for Wood. Axford's going to come a long way out of his box because he's just going to make sure that. They might have gone across the byline, but not the case. Continues it on. Must have just been sitting just inside when he made contact. They float it forward here. Harris Zeb there, but Hurley gets to it. James Kresner left reaching, can't get it. Moore comes away. Nice little turn out to Ingram. You've got Baker forward. He lofts it out in front of him. Baker leaves it to the deference of Delgado, but Iwasaki steps in and clatters it into one of the lamp posts on the outside of the fence. certainly been an entertaining first 45. We talked about the excitement of 6-all football last week. 0-all can be just as enthralling. Certainly been chances at both ends. Both sides have come up clutch with last line defending. Some beautiful build-up play both ways as well. Outstanding first half here. Fitting of the occasion. And both sides fighting to earn that ticket to the Northern New South Wales Grand Final in 2 weeks' time at Darling Street. It's always an interesting one, Ryan, when you talk to teams. It doesn't really matter the sport about the week-off philosophy, and especially for a team like Broadmeadow that, no disrespect to their opponents in the final round, that Charleston didn't really present a significant challenge to them in that game. So, their last competitive game was essentially 3 weeks ago here, and if they win today, they'll go another 15 days before they play again.
Yeah, and that's where, as a coaching staff, you've got to be smart in terms of how you prep for this kind of a game. I know Jim Kresner's had a couple of games against even some A-League opposition, but you're right, Chris, when you talk about, games where you're kicking the ball in anger and the team that you're coming up against also wants to win just as bad. You can't beat, for me, competition games. So it's a real tricky one. The preparation between having that time off and resting players and then getting to a level where you can compete ultimately with Weston, who went all the way with Maitland, in the last week.
It's certainly an interesting sort of middle ground, but I guess Jim Kresner's probably old hat at it over the last 3 years with how successful they've been, and undoubtedly it doesn't really matter which way it plays out. People will use it to build a narrative. If Weston are to win today, people will say, oh, well, Broadmeadow hadn't had enough football and maybe it's the loss they need to have. And if Broadmeadow win, oh, well, they're the fresher team. Weston had to play 120 minutes. It's, revisionist statistics, we might call it. As we get deep in this first half, can someone just steal the jump in the shadows of half-time? James Kresner to Jacob Kresner, plays it for Iwasaki, just nice and composed. Weddick, not quite the touch he wanted, and snatched away by Baker off the boots of Archibald. Baker against Weddick now, plays it through. Foul call here. A little bit of frustration from Jeremy Wilson, normally a fairly cool customer.
That's one where, so that's the Broadmeadow magic that I know, when teams come and try and play through them centrally, that they're denied time and space, they're on them straight away, which is what I think the coaching staff for Broadmeadow were unhappy about earlier on when I was talking about the press from the front two, how they played almost through them. You'll see now, what Lara's actually doing is all the time is he's looking behind him at where Connor Evans is. So what he's doing is he's defending from the front. You can see his head kind of looking at the back, even when the centre-back gets it. And he's trying to make play predictable. He's trying to stop Weston playing through central areas against them.
McCormick now uses the wide ball. That's a nice touch there from Wood for Archibald. Tries to go the cross and well blocked there by a sliding Beecham. And another corner. Now racking up this corner count. But again, that talks to just that resolute defending of Broadmeadow around the edges of that 6-yard box. Yeah, and then, the opposite side to that is then the ball that gets played out to McCormack again, it's with quality. So they suck Broadmeadow magic in, and then they're quickly out to the other side. So curls it in again, a little short.
So, sorry, Chris, there's a few tactical bits at play here. It's good.
Certainly is. Evans has a chance. That was a golden chance, you would have thought. Yes, there was a pack of defenders there, but to have that off target is probably what Damien Zane might refer to as a cardinal sin, I would have thought.
Yeah, you got to try and make the keeper work at least there, right? I mean, I understand there's plays in the box. I understand that they're blocking the direct route to goal, but he's probably eight yards out. To not make the keeper work there, I think he'll be really disappointed. And that's from a player who's had a great game so far, by the way.
He certainly has. He's been outstanding. As a general of their midfield. 1 minute added time indicated by the fourth official. Throw to be taken now. And along with it, Carson Wood. Nice little touch inside. Weddick holds up position. Can't control the pass. Kresner will go back to his keeper in Axford and plays out to Jacob Kresner, who goes long, looking for Delgado. This is a great battle, Iwasaki and Delgado, the two imports. And they have a foul here given against Jared Baker. I sometimes question why the players are, why they bother arguing. I'm yet to see one of the referees say, no, you know what, you're 100% right, I got that wrong, let's go the other way. Especially at this level. I mean, it might happen at more Sunday League style levels, but yeah, not at this level.
You know, I tell you what it is. It's because players, they put everything into it. You know, they're really trying. They're giving everything that they've got. And when they feel hard done by, the natural reaction is to...
It's got to go somewhere.
Okay, right, exactly, yeah, exactly.
Harris, get back!
So Iwasaki floats it deep. Jim Kresner screaming out to Harris Zeb to drop back into the defensive line, and that is half-time. And I tell you what, despite the fact we have no goals and we are locked up at 0-0, that has been an enthralling half of football, Ryan.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think Weston's coach, Damien Zane, will probably be the more happy of the two. They've had some really nice passages, especially when they've managed to play through Broadmeadow Magic, whilst also noting that they've got that switch ball out to McCormack, which has worked probably, two or three times now. Broadmeadow Magic are always dangerous. They have quality, like you said. They've certainly got quality on the bench as well. So it really is on a knife edge at this stage, and I'm looking forward to the second half.
Yeah, I can't wait. A little bit of a meeting between the referee and a few of the Western players, Dylan Burston, remonstrating with them. So just trying to make sure the referees are across everything, but they've done an outstanding job in the first half. They've delivered a great first 45 of football. We're going to take a short break here on the Northern New South Wales YouTube channel. We'll be back with the second.
Responsibility.
Yes, you are big.
Your heart and your head don't always agree.
Ah, like Hayes, good deal.
Boring.
Yes.
I love it.
Let's make an offer.
Oh, let's think this through.
But there's one thing they can agree on. With local expertise, great rates, plus a highly rated app, Newcastle Permanent is good for your head and good for your heart.
are so squishy. I love you.
It's a big responsibility.
Yes, you are big.
Your heart and your head don't always agree.
Ah, like Hayes, good deal.
Boring.
Yes.
I love it.
Let's make an offer.
Oh, let's think this through.
But there's one thing they can agree on. With local expertise, great rates, plus a highly rated app, Newcastle Permanent is good for your head and good for your heart.
Well, welcome back for the second half of this major semi-final, all locked up at 0-all at half-time as the sun sets over Magic Park on a picturesque Saturday afternoon that is fitting for this occasion. These two sides have gone toe-to-toe for 45 minutes. Can the next 45 separate them and put one of them through into the Northern New South Wales NPL Grand Final in 15 days' time? Not far from here at Newcastle Olympics home ground of Darling Street. Chris McPherson and Ryan Deutsch bring you all the action. And Ryan, if we get 80% of what we got in that first half. We're going to be on the edge of the seat for the next half as well.
No, yeah, even though 0-0, it was a quality first half. Some really good moments within the game. Some good individual performances so far as well. Interested to see if we can spot anything in the second half that the coaches might have talked about at half-time. So fingers crossed, and more of the same for me.
Exactly right. Well, we got the update we were talking about pre-game, or early in the game when we found out that Brock Beveridge was a late out, a groin injury before the game today. An update coming straight from the coach, Damien Zane. So hopefully that's nothing too major, because he will be a great boost if they can get that right again, either for next week, if they aren't to win today, or in 2 weeks' time, should they be in that grand final one way or the other.
Yeah, look, and what I would say, and it's no disrespect to Carson Wood, right? Because I think Carson's done a job today, and that job being stretching Broadmeadow Magic's defence, running into the channels, bringing other players in.
There's Zeb making a run to the box, feeds it off. Iwasaki just sort of collapsed himself over the ball. He made himself big and took up some space and managed to deflect everything.
And what Carson's Wood has done is this. You know, he's worked hard. He's chased the ball. He won't stop now. He'll go all the way along, look.
It's one thing that he and McCormick, and there's a few others to be fair in this side, but notably as imports, they're not afraid of this, that work, that energising, running from end to end, side to side as they need to. As we say that, McCormick on the ball.
And what it does is it rushes the Broadmeadow Magic's goalkeeper to quickly take that kick, which surrenders possession because it goes straight through to the Weston player, and now Weston have possession again. What I really am interested in more recently is, with strikers, coaches tend to look for that more than their ability to finish. Like, let's not forget what your number one job is as a striker, and that's to score goals, and I think that's what Beveridge can do really well, as can the other sub that they've got on the bench right now, which is Hatfield. So if it stays 0-0, I wouldn't be surprised, you know, maybe in the next 15 minutes, 20 minutes, probably Hatfield's going to be coming onto this pitch sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's even been the instruction to Carson Wood, as you've got somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes. Absolutely run your backside off. Not that he hasn't been doing that for the first 45. I think it's in his DNA. As we see, speaking of people that will run side to side and box to box, in Harris Zeb here, the Kiwi. Deflection. It was an interesting one, Harris Zeb. He sort of just popped up around the back end of the transfer window. No one had heard too much about him. Normally when there's signings coming into Broadmeadow, and you know, it becomes a big thing, because forcing your way into this starting 11 is no mean feat. He came in, he made his debut. It's a sort of last-minute inclusion off the bench against Bell Swans in that game. They lost 1-0, but he's absolutely ensconced himself in the starting 11 under Jim Presner. Yeah,
he has, and you know, he does really well. I think I looked at the Jacob Kresner then when he had it, and he was disappointed that he didn't release the ball, and he's probably right in that moment, because he made a lovely run around him, but the Magic player decided to go inside instead, and I think that you know, irritated Kresner.
Archbold to Archbold. Be a little dangerous and uncanny when those two get together. And then it's back to his brother again. And a little back heel ball for Weddick. Fed into the box. It somehow beat about 7 players, both in red and white jerseys. I'm not sure how that eventuated. They cleared away for the time being.
Do you know what? I don't mind that ball from Max Weddick, because what happened was Chris Wood had made a run. Ooh, that's the challenge. Let's play on.
Play on, they say there. And wound up McCormick and sprayed it across the face.
Yeah, that's a shame, is that? Because I think for the first time in the game, the referee probably got that one wrong for me. I think it was a foul. But what Carson Wood did when Max Weddick had the ball out wide, he made a run front post and dragged the defender with him, created spacing behind, which Max Weddick put the ball in. But like you said, it just kind of rolled past everybody, and Broadmeadow were able to clear.
Promising build-up from both sides. It's about who can take that opportunity. As we saw last week, Weston were happy to go deep in the trenches without goals and take it to penalties in the end against Maitland. We saw them get that double bite here today and send Maitland to hosting Edgeworth tomorrow.
I think if we were going to be super critical of Weston, it's probably that they don't score enough goals, maybe. You know, I think back to Melbourne City, the game there, where they had real chances, right?
Beautiful ball floated in from Wood there. The flag comes up.
They had real chances against Melbourne City in the FA Cup, and they didn't take their chances. And they competed with Melbourne City for long periods of that game. And I know Damien Zayn, like I said, and he'd have fancied himself to win that game against Melbourne City. And I thought he'd set up Weston really, really well to compete against them. And the chances that you have, when you're playing A-League teams, you don't get many chances. So the chances that you do get, you have to take. Whereas the flip side of that, you have the boy that's dropping in now for the ball, Lara, who seems to, every time he gets the ball inside the box, it ends up in a goal. So, you know, I think if we're going to be critical, that's probably what I would be critical of Weston for, that they probably don't score enough goals.
Well, I was just looking at the numbers, and they've scored 48 goals this season. 28 of those have come from two men who neither of them are on the pitch, because it's Brock Beveridge and Chris Hatfield.
Yeah.
And that probably talks to that exact point. Obviously, they're without Beveridge. Hatfield, though, his injection may come, but McCormick's, I think, the next best with 6, and he joined mid-season. Burston plays it through. That's a nice little play deflected there. Cleaned up after the fact. They're going to play the advantage here. Let the advantage build, and then pulled up Carson Wood as he was... Well, I don't know that he was going anywhere, but if he's going to let it breathe for that long, I thought he might have let it breathe another couple of touches at least.
And I think that's what the Western players are not very happy about. You know, the ref seemed to point to say play on, and gave the advantage, allowed the player to almost square up the defender. What I think the referee probably thought was it wasn't enough of an advantage in that area of the field to warrant, you know, where the free kick is. But for me, I don't think that's a decision that referees get to make. I think they get to either say it's play on or it's a free kick. And I think that's what the Western players were unhappy about.
It's an update from around the grounds. It looks like Maitland 1 foot into the women's grand final in the major semi-finals. This is curled in dangerously and punched away. McCormick taking the strike at goal. Zeb Harris dispossessed. Another heavy challenge there between Archibald and Kresner. The referee says play on. Harris will clear it away. Early in the second half, Maitland leading New 3 goals to 1. Of course, in tomorrow's game, while we'll have Maitland at Cook Square Park against Edgeworth in the men's, it'll be Broadmeadow and Lake Macquarie going toe-to-toe in the women's do-or-die minor semi-final. Wonderful time of year, and we've got all these games with so much on the line. Carson Wood now hitting the accelerator, and who's there right on his tail? Kresner, he beats him, steps into the box, and maybe just an extra touch too many. Appeals from the Western fan base, and they wanted a penalty there, but I think the referee got that one right. Kresner did well. He timed his intervention. He's pushed his foot through between the feet and took the ball.
Yeah, I think the referee's made the right decision there as well. I don't think it's a penalty. I think Carson Wood gets it all wrong. I think he does incredibly well to get inside the box. He's 2 versus 1 against Beecham. Max Weddig makes an incredible run inside. All he's got to do is he's just got to roll it across to him, or at least get something on target. And I think he got caught between 2 minds, and for me gets it all wrong, and then doesn't throw himself to the floor, but puts himself to the floor, and for me it's never a penalty. It was just the wrong decision from the striker.
It's certainly be tough, isn't it? You can see after the fact there, once the ball cleared away, he made his way over to Weddick and gave him just a moment of apology, because he knew that, and I think he would have known in his mind that he got caught in those 2 minds, exactly what it looked like. And it can be tough, especially if you haven't been scoring a lot of goals. He's been thrown in last minute, as we know from that Brock Beveridge injury. So it can be a bit challenging. You just start to overthink things, especially as they create more and more chances, Western, and they can't quite get any of them to stick. Not scoring can become a bit of a run of form like scoring can sometimes. Kresner has all the time in the world. Speaking of scoring, this man knows his way to goal. Hasn't had many real opportunities so far, Luis Lara Delgado. Beecham plays the ball across here to Baker. On again to Ingram.
This is when Magic have looked the most complete for me, where they've took their time, offside, where they've took their time, they've put a foot on the ball, they've actually possessed the ball inside Weston's half, allowed players to step in. Tom Beecham there, you notice, coming into the midfield third, playing some balls out to Baker, getting some overlaps. That's where Magic look really strong for me. I've probably not seen enough of that in this game so far. It's more Weston trying to do what we're seeing right now, rather than Magic.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of games this season where Broadmeadow has sort of been forced away either by complete design or just by the way they've played into the other opposition's hands, and they've tended to be the low-scoring games where they don't get the early goals. And I'm thinking of their penultimate home game here against Cohiba, where Cohiba clutched it at the death. They lost down at Blacksmiths. They certainly haven't been as fluent as this game. Weston are much more fluent side than either of those two by their nature. But it's certainly the way it's shaping here, and Jim Kresno would be the last thing he'd want is another late in regulation time, one that bounces away from them and goes against them. Here's an opportunity. Wood trying to get around, throws himself over the legs of Jacob Kresner, and Jacob Kresner gesticulating to someone in the crowd or a group of people. As we see, Magic, Jim Kresner sending one of the subs, that might have been Palambini, heading down there to warm up. Might not be too far away from changes in this one. In the meantime, McCormick will have another corner. He's had plenty today. Pitch now covered fully in shadow, and he curls this deep beyond the back post and just reaching up and taking it outstretched above his head. Axford does so well there in a pack.
Yeah, different type of set piece there from Weston, and again, they've changed it from what they were doing, especially McCormack there. He was kind of dropping it on that front post, but Weston actually set up different on that one. That front post was really spare, so I didn't think that they were going to play it short there, and the keeper came out and easily caught it. And for me, again, if you're not scoring many goals in open play, things like set pieces become really critical for you. So I think, Damien Zayn will be hoping for a little bit more from those kind of situations moving forward.
Certainly will. They've had plenty of opportunities at the corner so far today, as Axford now just plays it out. Kresner taking his time, Joey Kresner that is. Back to Axford. Send it long with nothing presenting close. Delgado tries to get the turn. Harris gets the ball down for him. He plays it in looking for Kresner. Burston does well getting it back for Roebuck. He'll go long himself. Gone from fluent play to goalkeeper long clearances when nothing's presenting because everyone's congested in midfield. Interesting to see these changes now, Ryan, when they do come and what those fresh legs can do. You can certainly see the gas coming out of the tank of a few individuals as McCormick gets in behind here on a run opportunity. Plays it across the face. And again,
real chance. Oh, real chance that.
I feel the shot was a little half-hearted again. I don't know whether he was caught slightly in two minds. He had Weddick coming in at the back post, but it was too hot for him to get to, but it was also off the direction to really challenge the keeper.
Those are difficult because you're moving at such speed. It's difficult to get your feet organised, get your feet ready to strike the ball. I just think it gets caught in and around his feet and he doesn't get the right strike that he wanted to do. You could see he was trying to use the inside of his foot just to put it across the goalkeeper into the bottom corner. But when you're moving at that speed, it is really difficult to do that.
They pop the ball down, looking for Delgado getting in behind Iwasaki. Plays smart there, just gets over the ball and leans his body weight forward as soon as he gets some contact, falls forward with it and gets the free kick.
The game's changed because there's not much football in the first period being played right now. It almost kind of gets to here and then we kind of skip the middle third like this. Look, there's lots of this going on right now. Transition, look, now we're giving the ball away to Broadmeadow. It's turned into a bit of a scrappy game, and my fear is that as we go through the game, this turns more and more into a semi-final where the mindset is we don't want to lose rather than we don't want to win. We want to win. So I hope it doesn't, but I've noticed a slight change in the game right now, that it's gone quite scrappy.
It feels like as Wood gets to the outside here, and we might come back to that thought in a moment. He's dispossessed again by Kresner. Does well to keep it. No, not quite keep it inside the byline. So we'll have another corner. But it just feels like both teams, if nothing's presenting in midfield, they're not prepared to take those chances through midfield. They'd rather turn it over at the other end of the field rather than turn it over there. But when you're turning it over at the other end, it's 100% turnover versus taking those chances through midfield, which is what we're seeing both teams do really well in the first half. And
it's a shame because Weston were doing Weston were kind of playing through the thirds really, really well, and in the first half. And Magic's best moments have been when they've been able to connect players and play through lines and you know, have the ball actually on the ground and look to play football. But you're right, the challenge comes when you're in these kind of games, which is why I like final series, because the season is the season. You know, it's over an extended period of time. You can make mistakes. You can do all that kind of stuff and still have a chance and opportunity to make up for it. Whereas in these final series, you know, you make a mistake, a tight game like this, it's likely that it's going to be a goal that separates both sides right now, if you were to ask me. And the mindset, what happens is it's more around, okay, we don't want to lose this now, rather than, okay, we're going to go out and win it. So hopefully not. And I can see a whole heap of activity that's off your screen right now on the side of the field, on the bench. So we'll see if some subs change it. But I think the game needs something right now to spark it back into life again.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what that could be as Carson Wood gets some treatment there, and he'll come off and take a moment. I wonder if that might trigger Damien Zane's thoughts of pulling the trigger at this 15 or so minute mark for someone like a Chris Hatfield, as it's curled in dangerously to the back post, beats everyone in the end. Everyone overshot it after the corner from Hurley. Certainly is some conversation with the fourth official and the assistant referee. Carson Wood back on the field now. Floated long down the line here, and Weston. A few appeals from the Broadmeadow faithful, but both he and Harris Zeb were pushing off each other, trying to leverage for position. As Kresner plays it wide now. Off to Ingram, gets the return pass. Nothing presenting, rather than take the chance, they go all the way back to Axford, who'll now lay it off to Beecham. The man who's captained the side for a lot of the season, gets it out in front of Delgado. That's a nice floated ball. There's Zeb, beautiful turn there. Looks to feed it into the box, headed on for Luis Lara Delgado, and that's probably the best chance that the Magic have had so far today. But not on target, unfortunately, for the home fans. Good headed attempt, but just couldn't quite find the target.
He was just probably a touch too high for him. I don't think he would get over the ball, which meant the ball was always going to be rising after that header. But you can see Weston really struggling here, right? They're going long a little bit more now, not getting success.
Back out to the top of his 18-yard box. You can see Broadmeadow still trying to probe occasionally through the midfield, can't you? Whereas Weston, it almost feels like it's their default now. They've gone to plan B, and that's what they're going to do. Almost waiting for it to happen. As you see Iwasaki here, he's offered some space. He decides to take it, and that's better. Going through it. Nice little touch there from Wedding, takes off. Plays it wide here to McCormick with a little bit of space. And try and take on Jacob Kresner. He cuts to the outside with the accelerator, hits into the box. He opts a deflection. Carson Wood picks it up on the byline. Tries to float it in, but again, defended away this time by Beecham. Evans pushing forward and out wide on the left flank here. Got Keanu Moore hot on his heels. Plays it through. Archibald returns it. Tried to find Wood. That would have been two options there and managed to bisect both of them.
Oh,
Baker.
Lara had made a great run, Chris, and he'd gone right across the centre half for Weston. Created space, opened it up. It just needed to play through from Baker, and I just don't think he saw him.
I don't think so either. He decided to try and take on Iwasaki and lost his footing a little on the ball, but here they come now. Oh, Iwasaki, he's nearly done a groin there, stretching for that. Like a go-go gadget foot. Probably showing my age there talking about Dr. Gadget, but anyway. Inspector Gadget. Harris Zeb, ball into the box here. Here's another opportunity. Broadmeadow, they're really pushing their chances now. Kresna back to Zeb. Zeb puts on the afterburners. Evans heads it away. Cleared long as well now by King. Brought down, good control, Weddick. Archibald's on his bike. Keanu Moore had to really pull back his instincts there. He wanted to clip him on the way. Feeds it wide.
Oh, great
McCormick,
touch.
that's a beautiful touch in front. Pushes it back.
Great
Archibald,
play.
can he pull the trigger? A little bit of contact in the box, and it will be a penalty.
It's great play, Chris. It is fantastic play. Max Weddick picks the ball up from the clearance from Weston. Under pressure, doesn't panic. Young player, brings the ball down. Weston break through that midfield third. First time they've done it now for the last 5 or 10 minutes. Ball out to McCormick. What a fantastic first touch. He really gets at the full back. Oh, he's giving offside. I think
He's pulled a card out there, so has he pulled the yellow out?
I'm unsure. I think the linesman's potentially had a conversation with him.
It was interesting because the linesman on that side had come round to adjudge the goalkeeper for the penalty on the line. So
He's 5 metres away. He's 5 metres away. And he wants to make a decision.
just wondering if one of the assistant referees is.
Yeah, I'm not sure there. It looked like a great decision from the referee, who was right on the money. He was right on the money. So I'm unsure what he's given there.
The only ways to overturn it are, as you said, offside or simulation. They're the only two things it could be. So but he's put his hand up again. So that suggests it was offside, which is it's puzzling. But look, only the video replay will tell us the correct piece there as Delgado comes out. Roebuck has a collision with Iwasaki. Archibald has to step in. Roebuck's able to manage to retreat.
But look, let's not take nothing away from what Weston did there, because McCormick really squares the defender up, squares the ball back, and I think it was for Weston. I think it was Archibald who received it, looked to fake to shoot, takes the ball on the outside, makes the defender commit and goes down. Whether or not it's offside or not, I'm unsure what that was. If it was offside, but. It's fantastic. It's fantastic play from Weston. I'm just thinking, Chris, I don't know how it could have been offside, though, because the ball got played backwards from the player.
That's why I think it may have been simulation, and maybe he's got a call from, because there seemed to be some irate feedback from the Western players to the far assistant referee, who, as I said, the near assistant referee had gone in for the penalty already. He'd gone with the call.
So he's seen it as a penalty. That's what we're saying.
He's either seen it as a penalty or he's just agreed with the referee because he hasn't got a dissenting view. So it's got to have come from either the fourth official. As King gets involved here, opportunity here. Archibald's touch is too heavy. What about the immediate injection there from Jai King? We thought that Hatfield would be the man to come on for Wood, but instead it's Jai King coming on the field, the youngster. Again, we talked about Damien Zane and the fact that he backs youth.
Yeah, he does. He does. In fact, what he does is he gives them enough confidence to go onto the field and have those kind of impacts. That is what this coach does. Absolutely, it's what he does.
McCormick calling for the ball there, but Kresna interjects. Really heating up this one as it builds. As we head to that sort of midpoint of this second half, still no score. Magic chasing a third straight championship. They've secured 3 premierships in a row. Outstanding run over the last 3 years for this club. After a long absence from trophy winning. Return with a bang the last 3 seasons.
Well played.
Well played there by Delgado. Gets the return but can't control it.
But you can see now the impact that Broadmeadow are having by having time on the ball. Look where Beecham is now as an example.
Step over Kresna, feeds it in the box. Iwasaki.
Yeah, Magic's starting to turn the heat up, okay? And all that's come from is them having an understanding to take to put the foot on the ball in the opposition's half. The long ball we're gonna reduce slightly because we're not getting much joy, and we're going to start to try and link players up. It brings Beecham into play more, which means other players can go higher, midfield players can go higher. And then the pressure in and around the box for Magic starts to really increase.
We head towards the final 20 minutes. Update from Maitland. It's 4-1. This is just cleared away. Evans just stoic at the front post. Here goes McCormick. He's absolute lightning. You're going to have to outrun Keanu Moore, who's no slouch either. Pulls up, feeds the ball in behind for Weddick. Kresner loses his footing. Does slide and take the ball away, but Weddick's still there. He's been such an ever-present danger today, young Max Weddick. Plays it back to another youngster in Nelson King.
Do you know what? McCormick tried to get his outside of the foot around that ball to curve it around Kresner.
Now Delgado. Flag stays down. Delgado versus Iwasaki. Iwasaki, what a tackle. He has been outstanding at the back today for Weston.
Yeah, he's spot on, Chris.
My goodness, these players all around the pitch continue to stand up. This game, sometimes semi-finals just can't live up to the height. Burston needs to be careful there as it's picked up by Roebuck. Sometimes semi-finals don't live up to the hype. These two have been two of the form sides, despite Weston finishing third on the regular season ladder, and they have absolutely delivered so far over 70-plus minutes. Oh my, what a game. As we touched on earlier, those high-scoring ones, sometimes for the neutral fans or sometimes for the non-traditional football fans, but this one has had something for absolutely everyone. As a football purist, you'd be loving it. As a neutral, you'd be loving it. And if you're a fan of either of these sides, you probably wouldn't be loving that if you're a Broadmeadow fan. But if you're a fan of either of these sides, you'd be absolutely impressed with how your side has carried themselves so far across 72-odd minutes.
Yeah, just a little bit late there from Kresner. It was absolutely there to be won. I don't discredit him for trying to win the ball. That's what centre-halves are there for right there. They're there to defend, they're there to tackle. It was a little bit late, and again, nothing major. Referee, again, for me, makes the right decision, yellow card.
The referee's done well. There's been a couple little flash points where he could have wielded more cards, but he hasn't really pulled them out unless he's had to. As this one goes in behind, and Kresner will just shepherd this over the byline. Joey Kresner sees it away, and it'll be another goal kick.
Yeah, you couldn't even put J. Kresner on the back of the shirt, could you?
No, it's a bit like the Lockie Rose, Liam Rose thing, isn't it? L.A., L.I. Even that doesn't really work. Got James and Jacob.
And Joey?
Yeah, maybe they just need to go, the Brazilian method, and we'll just go by first names. Just their first names, that's all we'll go by. But even then, you've got James and James, technically, because Jim's James, isn't he? Oh, anyway, we certainly are off on a tangent now. Oh, my. I'm just worried there's more of them to come. Well, not worried. Possibly exciting. It's just going to be confusing as a commentator.
Surely only future grandchildren for James Kresner, for the coach Kresner, though, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I would hope so. Well, not hope so, I would assume so. Maybe there'll be players that will change their name to Kresner. I did see as you see this ball going down to Iwasaki. I did see a game in Mexico a couple of seasons ago where there was 11 players and only 2 surnames between the 11 players in the starting lineup. That is a commentator's nightmare. Archibald fires it wide here to McCormick, the ever-present threat on the left flank.
What I would say is Jacob Kresner has actually done really well against McCormick because he's a fantastic player, is McCormick. But what he's done is he's not dived in, he's protected the space, he's used his body really well to get across.
Archibald puts it in the box. Oh, that could have been dangerous. Beecham gets a boot to it, not completely dealt with. Weddick just gets dispossessed. It's certainly been a great battle there on the left of Weston, the right of the defence, as we see it resume again here. And McCormick tries to turn him inside out, comes away with it, gets on top. Oh, what about the touch there? McCormick spins away. He tried his hand one too many times. Moore gets some height on this ball. King gets a couple of headers in there, and Beecham. King headers at last, does he? No, referee's going to say Weston throw. I thought that might have been last off King, but Beecham must have got a glance on the way. Burston wearing his heart on his sleeve. Both the Burstons are very passionate footballers, respectively, for their clubs. I'm not left wondering if you're playing against them or watching them what they're thinking. And McCormick Gets a little clip there on the outside of the box.
Do you know, since I have well and truly cursed the fullback here for Broadmeadow Magic, since I said he's defended really well, he's put it through his legs 3 times now. So, maybe not so much.
Yeah, look, you won't necessarily be invited to family dinner at the Cresners anytime soon, Ryan, I don't think. That's okay. That's the joy of the commentator's curse. Never intentional, but often rolled out unintentionally, and has bitten a number of players over time.
What I think you've just seen, though, for the last couple of possessions for McCormack here on behalf of Weston is his ability, because what he is able to do and how he's able to manipulate the ball when he's in possession, when he's running at defenders. He keeps the ball central when he's dribbling, which means he can go left, it means he can go right. Defenders are guessing. When there's spacing behind, he's got enough speed to knock it past them and run. What it means is he's able to really keep defenders guessing, and he's a top dribbler.
And here comes the change that we talked about. It's Weddick that will come off. He'll make way for Hatfield. What an outstanding 75 minutes from that young man. He has been one of Weston's best today, an ever-present danger, an ever-present threat. And what a net man to be able to call on off the bench. And you wonder at what point will Broadmeadow Magic do the same. Jim Kresner certainly keeping his powder dry, but Chris Hatfield, the leading scorer for Weston for this season, joins the fray. 15 goals so far this season. He got 14 last year as well. Certainly knows his way to goal. Now McCormick, just outside the 18-yard box, curls it towards the top corner. That was not far away. It was an outstanding effort, but unfortunately for the Western Bears and their fans, it does not register, and the score remains 0-0 as we head towards the final 10 minutes of regulation time. The last of the natural light started to pass. The floodlights kicking in here at Magic Park on a Saturday evening. An exciting way. Weston, they've played 120 minutes last week. Are they going to be called upon to do the same this week? Turnover ball here, dangerous. The touch a little heavy from Baker, and Roebuck will come out and pick it up. He gets things moving straight away. Sending it out to Archbold. Dom Archbold sends it down, looking for the fresh Chris Hatfield, but Joey Kresner reads it well. We'll see it away and forward down the line to Iwasaki, who just feints out Baker. Chris Hatfield, the elder statesman at just 32. Makes me feel very old, but when he's the elder statesman of this team. 14 years difference between he and Joey Kresner, who's marking up on him. The ball's fed in the box here. Hatfield, oh, that would have been miraculous. He went for the back heel. Trying to channel his inner Riley McGree.
Yeah, it was just a little bit behind him, that's all. He made a fantastic run across the defender, so he would have arrived there first. But the ball that was played in was just a little bit behind him. He tried to improvise, but you know, just couldn't get a touch on it.
Weston really trying to press and find that winner here. Evans from range curls away from the left post. They're chancing their hand now, the Bears. Trying to find that one goal. It may be all it takes to book a ticket to the grand final. Weston have not made the grand final since 2014.
And I think, look, I'm going to say something now, and maybe this is unfair to the players because, you know, how much impact a coach has on the team. It's the players that go out there and they're delivering week in, week out. But that for me is absolutely the impact of Damien Zane. And Nathan Morris, who's working with him, you know, is hopefully taking some...
Gardo here with a chance. Hurley thought to pass back to Roebuck, turns away though. What about that for a delivery?
Yeah.
To King. Wilson. Play on, says the referee. King in again, slides in heavily. Comes away. That one will be a challenge that will go into the book.
Yeah. What I was saying was what I hope Nathan Morris is doing is he's taking some notes when he's working alongside Damien Zane, because you know how 2014, since the Bears were last in a grand final, I could tell you now that Western Bears win this game, and you're not going to argue with me potentially. So, you know, the where they've gone, or where they were and where they are now, I think is a huge credit to the club. Fantastic new facility as well that they've got out there at Weston, and Damien Zane's done a fantastic job.
It's been quite a couple of years. I think, you know, probably a little credit to Q Jallians and the platform he laid there the year, and, you know, again to Nathan Morris. What about that as in terms of a couple of people to learn from over back-to-back seasons?
Yeah, big style.
It's only a matter of time, surely, for Moz when he gets an opportunity to be a head coach in his own right.
And you know what, Nathan Morris is he's going through his badges right now, and again, he's another top coach as well, or and absolutely will be a top coach when his time comes.
Sure, that time will not be all that far away. Ball goes out of play here, and you can just feel both teams trying to turn the tempo up. We've got two footballs on the field for a split second there. One's dealt with, and the other one continues on. As McCormick steps in, gets a little bump from Kresner. The referee says play on. Now Beecham. The referee, I don't know if you've picked that up on the microphone there from the effects mic. No more diving, the comment. That's a pretty strong statement from the referee. There's one people trying to oversell contact. McCormick managed to keep it in. Play on, says the referee. Hip and shoulder there from Hatfield. I was going to say that one was a little overzealous.
Yeah, it was a little bit late. And I think what Hatfield's probably done is he's probably seen there's been a couple now strong ones gone in. The one that was down here earlier on from the Broadmeadow Magic player, Keanu Moore. Hatfield's probably looking at that and seeing it and thought, you know what, as the oldest player in this team, I need to probably stick up for some of my younger teammates.
It's probably a bit of pent-up energy too. He's been sitting on the bench for 70-odd minutes as we see two changes. Speaking of that, what about this? You can call on Jack Simmons and Ezra Palambini to replace Tom Beecham and Harris Zeb.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, Tom Beecham. I'm wondering if he's not 100%. I'm just looking now at the physio with Broadmeadow Magic, and I think he's sitting next to him. So I'm wondering if Beecham's not 100%, which will be absolutely a worry for Broadmeadow Magic moving into this Australian Championship season.
I'm assuming, and yeah, it's Wilson that'll slot back into that centre-back role. It's a tough one, isn't it? Obviously, Broadmeadow undoubtedly want to make it those 3 Premiership Championship doubles in a row. But as you said off the top today, they'll have half an eye at least, that Australian Championship, and what it can mean not only for the club, its image, Northern New South Wales as well, and how they represent it, but also every single one of the players that's part of that squad in that competition. Magic now finds some space on the left. They're happy to settle it back in. Play it forward now. Delgado tries to thread the ball. King, little touch taken away by Moore. Burston won't worry about self-protection when he's going for a football, Dylan Burston.
And look, Broadmeadow Magic, obviously, they've come out of the Australian Championship last season. I think they'll go into it this season a little bit more wide-eyed. They'll understand what the level's like. They'll understand what they'll need to do. Oh.
Opportunity here, and Delgado sneaks in behind, breaks the deadlock, appeals for offside.
Oh, flag's gone up.
Flag has gone up. No goal. That was a very late call. Second piece of delayed officiating, we might call it, Ryan, today. Again, they're in the best place each time.
Yeah, they are.
If they take a second to process it, I'm okay with that so long as we get the right decisions. And, you know, we're in a reasonable position to judge that. And it did look like he got just the slightest of jumps, Delgado.
Yeah. From where I'm sat, I felt like he was just offside. And like you said, Chris, so long as we're getting the correct decision, you know, there's no VAR at this level. So long as we're getting the correct decision, if they need to take 5-10 seconds to think about it, I'm okay with that.
Here you go, Broadmeadow again, looking to try and break that deadlock. Ball picked off by Hurley. Hurley pushing all the way up here. Chris Hurley's winding back the clock, turning into a box-to-box defender. It's not even a thing. If Chris Hurley wants it to be, though, it can be. Sometimes that's what breaks these games open, and his experience would know that. Sometimes just be that one little gut-busting effort from one player that can crack things wide open. Into the final 5 or so minutes of regulation time now, and Baker. And there he is, back at the other end, the captain, sliding in with aplomb. James Kresner. Evans. Goes in strongly. Kresner wants a card dished out. The referee denies him that, but this is a dangerous dead ball opportunity for the Magic.
That looked like tired legs for me for Connor Evans there, and you know, he's been all over the place today. He's had a fantastic game, but he was late there. He was late on James Kresner, and James Kresner's got every right to be a little bit frustrated with that, because Broadmeadow Magic were building some momentum in that attack. So you know, I think he's probably lucky, Connor Evans, there to escape a yellow card.
That's a simple instruction from Jim Kresner. Lewis, go and score. And when you've got someone who's put away 29 this year, why not?
Well, if anybody can.
Exactly right. Well, it is going to be interesting. So that's the instruction. So he's going to go straight for goal, you'd think. No. Fakes it out. Kresner floats it in. Headed on. Roebuck. Not enough heat on that from Wilson to really challenge him. McCormick screaming for it. He wanted it. You touched about the heavy legs. We saw the groundsman out here working overtime during the half-time break. It is quite soft despite the fact we haven't had heaps of rain. It's a pitch that stays soft throughout most of the season, and it's had a lot of traffic on it with both the men's and women's NPL leading the charge here at Magic Park. So,
yeah, I know they try and protect it as much as they can throughout the week, and you know, they do a whole heap of work on the ground to get it as good as what they can. But you're right, it does seem to stay fairly soft throughout the season.
McCormick trying to feed it in. That's beautiful defensive work, tracking back there. Almost something developing. Not to be the case. Time ticking down here. Both sides will be very well aware of that. We have had a couple of longer delays, so there'll undoubtedly be some added time. Won't be too far before we find that out from the fourth official. Here goes Keanu Moore. He's still got a spring in his step despite plenty of workload for him today. Downley both managers. Mario Delgado slides into the fence, and a little bit of dew, I think, starting to come around as well. You could see straight away Burston tried to almost pull out of that at the last moment, but the momentum just carried them both into the hoardings here as Keanu Moore takes a strike, curls up. Wasn't far away from top bins there. That would have been an outstanding way to break the deadlock, but not to be. What about the roller coaster we've been on, Ryan? Weston thought they had a penalty. Broadmeadow thought they had a goal. We've had a couple of shots late in this game from each side that have curled away just from those top bins area. My goodness, we're on a knife's edge.
Well played, Weston.
Beautiful ball here out in front of Archibald.
Oh, well played.
Hatfield, flag goes up. Oh my.
See, Weston are at their best when they're playing football like that. Now, he can still be fairly direct. For me, that's 1, 2, it's 3 passes and they're in on goal. So it can still be fairly direct, but there's a purpose, there's a meaning to what they're trying to do. We saw a whole heap of that in the first half, not so much in the second half. Maybe now they can start to get back on top again.
Oh, that was a bold move there from Jacob Kresner, the little header back to the keeper. Both sides opening back up into that free-flowing football we saw in the first half. Interesting. They went from both being a little reserved, not wanting to lose it, to now going all out trying to win it. Bodies colliding. It's heating up here. Simmons, a little cheeky, offered to hand it to Burston and then just rolled it away from him. The gamesmanship building into it.
I'm hoping Jack Simmons can build up a little bit of fitness for the Australian Championship because he's a fantastic player. I really like Jack Simmons. He's one of the best in the league, in my opinion. But I'm unsure if his fitness will be there. Hopefully it will be.
3 minutes of added time to be played. I was literally about to say that when you were talking about him getting back to fitness, and I was going to say at his best, I think he is potentially the best player in this league. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to build that consistently, and if he can do that at Australian Championship level for a period of 4 or more weeks, if they can make it a little further than they did last year, Broadmeadow Magic, I don't think we'll see him in the Northern New South Wales NPL for too long after that, unless he has a real hankering to stay in Newcastle.
Which, why would you not, by the way?
It's a beautiful place. It's a bit warmer than where you're from. We've lured you here.
True blue me, mate. True blue.
An accent is fading since I first met you. We play it down in back play here. No prisoners taken. The referee's going to stop it because he is holding his head, and that's fair enough. We can't take concussion safety too seriously. It's a real matter that we need to address, and whenever there is a possibility of concussion and related things, our referees will step straight in. It's Mana Iwasaki, who normally it takes basically a Mack truck to knock him down, so it won't be anything light there. We're into stoppage time. Speaking of that, on the door of stoppage time up at Cook Square Park, and Maitland, after losing 3 major semi-finals in a row the last 3 years in the women's NPL, lead 5-1, so they will be through to the grand final. The direct route for the first time in 4 seasons, which undoubtedly will have their coaching staff and their players very happy this year to be able to earn that week off heading into the grand final in 2 weeks' time, also at Darling Street. They've had a great run this year, winning the premiership, and now they are 1 win away from the championship. Meanwhile here, these two sides looking for a deadlock breaker to avoid going to extra time, but it looks more and more imminent. Feels fitting at the moment, to be fair. There's barely been anything between them across the 90-plus minutes we've played so far, as Dylan Burston appears to be in absolutely no hurry. He's having a nice conversation with the assistant referee. Referees have done a wonderful job of controlling this one today. They've played in good spirits, but when they've needed to step in, they have. As we said, there's been a couple of delayed decisions where they've made sure to get the right one. And that was tight. McCormick found an extra yard of pace to the pace he's already had today. Connor Evans heads it forward. Chris Hatfield brings it down. McCormick had gone a different direction. Archibald racing up, trying to block it. Axford goes long. Iwasaki gets the head to it. Good to see him back to his feet and healthy. Connor Evans loses his footing as he slides in on that one, but does get the ball. He's slow to his feet, clutching his knee, and he's hobbling. He's trying to get back to his gate. Baker, little touch inside King, plays it out now for Jacob Kresner, who plays it through the legs of one player. Hurley dives and misses. Delgado on a blind turn, headed away. Back to Kresner here. A little bit of a flick there of the contact, and Dylan Burston didn't even react. He's just walked away. It takes more than that to bruise the man that is Dylan Burston. It'll be a corner here. Kresner looking at the short one. Delgado down though.
It'll be a shame for whoever does lose this match because they've both put a massive effort into it. There's been bits of quality from both sides. Both probably deserve to win it. Unfortunately, it's not a league game and you can't take a draw, right? So I'm looking forward to maybe extra time.
We're getting close. I'll tell you what. Kresner curls this one dangerously towards the back post. Delgado's there. It spills down. Archibald. Shot taken by Moore. Wilson parries it. Cleared away there. Hatfield just pokes it long. And the referee says we will go to extra time. Locked at 0-0 for the second week for Weston in a row of this final series. Both teams will take a quick moment to grab some rehydration and we'll get set for 15 minutes each way to try and determine a winner. And I tell you what, Ryan, you touched on it just before. You're going to have to feel for whoever doesn't win here. But you'd be a brave man to back against these two not playing again in 2 weeks with what they've displayed. If they can, whoever plays next week can play at this level again.
Yeah, you're right. You're spot on. And that's probably the disappointing part for whoever does walk away from this, because what you've got to do is you've got to look at it and go, we've put so much effort into this game to not get anything out of it. psychologically it can be quite difficult to go again the following week. Whereas the team that wins this, you know, you can put as much as you want into it because you get a week off, you get a chance to recover, and then you're nice and fresh for the grand final. So there's some real, you know, it's a real interesting piece, this right now.
Especially when you look at Weston, they went through all of this last week, went to penalties.
Yeah, that's right.
5-4 on penalties, they defeated Maitland to go through.
And look, they may reflect on that and use that as an opportunity to take that experience into this, right? Broadmeadow Magic won't have been in this position for a long time. Certainly not this year. You know, they'll maybe Weston have an advantage here potentially.
Certainly an interesting permutation to come. 30 minutes to decide it. A change coming here, and it'll be Connor Evans. You touched on the fact of how heavy and tired the legs were. He will make way.
So I have got confirmation on the decision for Weston in when they went for the penalty, or when the penalty was overturned, and it was for simulation. It was for simulation. So you're correct, Chris. Yes.
There we go.
Again, you know, I'll reflect on the linesman's decision on Broadmeadow's goal. I don't mind if they take that extra little bit longer. They confer with their colleagues, so long as the decision's correct. And like I said about the referee in this game, the centre referee, I think anytime there's been anything contentious, he's been right there on the money, and I think that he's refereed this game to a very high level.
Certainly has. It's been outstanding so far. We've had some moments. It's added to the theatre, it's added to the drama thus far. But here we go for another 30 as the lights take full effect here. We started in full sunshine. We're going to finish under full floodlights. And we've got at least half an hour to go, maybe more if we go to penalties. So here comes Weston, trying to play it forward. Ollie Kalkouli, the player to come on. Departure of Evans. Looks like they've gone to a midfield two of King and King. Guy King and Nelson King both playing in there. Three youngsters across the midfield bracket for them. Offside flag. Jim Kresner clearly not happy with that decision. Takes a thick skin to be a referee, doesn't it? My, oh my. As Hurley floats his forward. That's a nice ball. Brought down with the shoulder by Hatfield, trying to control it in a tight challenge with Simmons. King loses his footing, away they come. Now Palambini plays it wide. Kresner floating it down long now for Baker. Baker touches it inside. Kresner into the box. Kalkouli gets a boot in and just pushes it back to his keeper as well. Even better result for Weston. They couldn't have scripted that much better.
Yeah, it's a great tackle. Just gets a boot on there, doesn't he?
Foul call there on Kresner again. Treading a fine line. Was it Joey Kresner that picked up the yellow card earlier from memory as well?
Joey Kresner, yeah, that's correct,
so
yeah. For a tackle, pretty much where the ball is right now.
Certainly needs to be cautious, you would think. As Hatfield takes it away. King almost tackled his own teammate there. Full of exuberance of youth. Jai King, Jeremy Wilson drops the shoulder. That was a rugby league style from the 1980s. And then he tried to tried to suggest that it didn't happen. It was right in front of the referee, Jeremy. I haven't seen it hit that firm in football circles since Taylor Regan was playing for the Jets. I think it was Shane Smeltz he upended. His one was legal, though, because he just stood his ground and Shane Smeltz ran into what is a very deceptively hard-looking physique. Taylor doesn't look like there's much of him, but he grew up in those rugby league circles. He's very rough and ready when it needs to be, Reegs.
Love the tackle as well,
Certainly did. He's been missed this year in the NPL.
Yeah.
Azuri would have liked to have had Taylor Regan this year.
Yeah, and you know what? You can really see the impact that those kind of players had in that Azuri team. You know, they've really struggled this year, and hopefully we see Azuri back in the NPL very shortly.
Hopefully so. Mana Iwasaki over the dead ball, curls it straight into the wall. I thought Luis Lara Delgado might have got that somewhere that might have interrupted him running away, but obviously not.
Luke McCormick has been absolutely everywhere tonight, by the way. Absolutely everywhere. You commented earlier on that little yard of pace he found when he was pressing the goalkeeper. That was in the 88th minute.
He's still managing to track back and make key tackles there in that last section of play.
And that's what I'm talking about the effort that these players have been putting into this game. No one can argue that the players on the field right now have not given this game absolutely everything, and with quality as well. I must say, you know, there's been some real good high quality moments that, for me, this game's really showcased the league. It really has.
Yeah, it certainly has. I think we touched on it at half time. It had been one of the best halves I'd seen, and it's still living up to that at the moment. Jared Baker v Chris Hurley. This is a good battle. Baker curls it in. Iwasaki there arrives again. And cometh Mana Iwasaki again. He was like this in the prelim and the semi-final series last year. And again, he's stepping up in these big games. He was crucial the last 2 years in helping them qualify for the round of 32 as well. As Jacob Kresner gets the last touch on that before it goes over the byline. It'll be a goal kick. So many players you could single out. I mean, there's not a player out there that hasn't had one of those major moments in this game, I don't think.
And for me, it's a fantastic header, and I'll tell you the reason why is because what the Broadmeadow striker tried to do and did almost do is get in front of the defender, get in front of Iwasaki. Now, what Iwasaki does really well is he tracks the run. He follows the run, doesn't allow the striker to get in front of him, so that the striker doesn't get first contact on the ball. For me, again, we talked about Jeremy Wilson making the tackle earlier on. That's a goal if the striker gets contact on that for me. And the defenders come across really well and stopped his side from going 1-0 behind in a crucial moment in this game.
There's also been another change while we're on that. I've just noticed Regan Jose out there. Another change for Magic. So
I think he came off for Keanu Moore.
Looks like the change. And again, Moore, another one. Love to see the GPS tracking on him today. Like McCormick, the two of them have probably covered more ground than anyone, and there's plenty of people with how end-to-end this has been who would have racked up probably season best numbers on the GPS, I would have thought. This has been outstanding, and here they go again. Ingram. He's been strong. Gets it back to Wilson. Having to step into that centre-back role. Now Regan Jose plays it off. Floated forward here. Flag will maybe go up. No. Good sliding tackle there. Iwasaki straight back up to his feet too, trying to make a forward run. And it's those sorts of bits as well, those second efforts that are so crucial. Because it's one thing to make a key tackle, Ryan, but to then get straight back to your feet and create an option for your team as McCormick races away here and burns past Jack Simmons. A little heavy with his touch there.
I am going to be shook if Luke McCormick can produce those moments at that speed, that intensity throughout this extra time.
I'll be shook if Luke McCormick's doing anything but sleeping for about 36 hours after this game. I'll tell you what, you talk about players putting themselves in windows, and we know that Andrew McGee from Bell Swans as an import got an opportunity to go and trial and train with the Jets. A guy like Luke McCormick, and I'm not exactly sure on his date of birth or where he's at age profile-wise, but if he doesn't start having some clubs nipping about him, I would be surprised. Because these big games, as the ball played in, Hatfield with a little back heel. Kalkouli takes a strike, curls it wide. That was as good a chance as we've seen today. The little deft touch there from Chris Hatfield, selfless.
Do you know, Hatfield, he set him up really well. Like you said, he took the sting out of the ball. I just wonder, I saw Jai King coming on the outside of him, and he's decided to take the shot. I just wonder if he could have just slotted him in, and it's a one-touch finish then for Jai King, and I just don't know if that was the best decision in that moment. He might have seen his name in lights though, right?
Well, I have a feeling that Damien Zane after this game will talk to him about looking at his options, but he'll also credit him for backing himself, knowing Zaney as well.
Yeah.
Because it's easy for a young man to defer. As the ball spills around, and then it's put in. There is that man. No, it's Nelson King. The young man who has been busy as any gets the goal. And talk about Damien Zane backing youth. Nelson King has repaid that in spades. Weston break the deadlock in extra time and lead 1-0.
Jim Kresner's not going to be happy here, and I'll tell you the reason why he's not going to be happy, because Weston have been putting corners in that front post area all game. We've been talking about it up here. I would have imagined they'll be talking about it in the changing room. The ball's landed again. It's bounced inside the 6-yard box at the front post. There's not been any purchase on it. It's bounced out, and it's one of them, right? It can fall to a Magic player, it can fall to a Weston player. It falls to a Weston player, and he puts it in on with the first touch. And I think he's going to be disappointed because they haven't learnt from that Broadmeadow Magic. They've continued to do it, Weston, and now Broadmeadow have been punished because of it.
And if you have a look back at that replay, you'll see 3 Broadmeadow players all within a stride or two of that ball as well. And we talked about those effort areas. It's easy, your tired legs. But I wouldn't want to be the player that tried to say to Jim Kresner I had tired legs at that point when he asked the question in a video review session. There might be paint peeled off the walls.
And we talked about Weston and the goals, you know, them needing to score goals. Chris Hatfield comes on and potentially gives them that. But we talked about the importance of set pieces.
Ball crossed over the top here. Come back to that little back heel from Joseph Kresner for Baker. Pushing up now into the box is James Kresner. Lays it off. King. There, flag for offside. No, Hurley there. They clear it away. Now the flag comes. Just watching it play out, I'm not sure on the rationale behind it, but we see that a lot at a lot of levels of football now. I understand when you've got VAR, and they just let it play out there.
I think it's just to make sure that the player that is offside is interfering with play.
Actively involved.
Is actively involved in play, yeah. I think that's the official line, that they are actively involved. And, you know, what I'm not about to say right now is when I give the officials earlier saying take a bit of time to make sure you get the right decision. You know, I'm not gonna hammer him for that now. And again, I think it was, from where I'm sat, I think it was offside. So again, I think it was the right call.
Oh my! There's still plenty of time to play. We're still in the first half of extra time, so Jim Kresner's men still have an opportunity to get back into this one. Ball lofted over the top, but a throw from Kresner. Baker, a nice little back heel for Delgado. Hurley clears it long. Joey Kresner, I don't think he meant to step over that one, but it'll be cleaned up by Axford. You feel for Daniel Axford, he's been outstanding on a number of occasions today, and just that one awkward one, pinballing around in the box that gets poked past him, has been the only blemish on his sheet. As this one comes to Baker, does well just to take the heat off it. Kalkouli pushing up and forcing against the more experienced man, forcing back infield. Now Simmons. Jose wide now. Tough bounce for Archibald. Well, blocked again. Who else would it be but Mana Iwasaki? Iwasaki and Hurley have been immense today. Now Hatfield playing it out in front for the pace of McCormick. Kresner's pushing back. King will just press up there and make sure that Axford has to take a quick decision. Probably didn't get as much purchase on that as he would have liked. Jose does well to push back. Palambini now.
See, that's what Hatfield does well. He came up to him then, he holds it up, he turns, he brings the players in. I think that's what Carson Wood, they would have wanted a little bit more from in the first half.
Baker managed to maintain possession. Iwasaki again just parries it away.
Wow. I'm going to give the goalkeeper some benefit of the doubt here because it looked like he'd also made a dive into the right area, but that's in. Or it's certainly going goal bound. And the boy again, Iwasaki, he's been everywhere tonight. What an outstanding match he's having.
Curl towards the back post, headed back into play. Jost gets to it. Roebuck appeals for a bit of a push. They're always going to allow the keeper to protect his space there.
Not for me. He's just protecting his space. He's absolutely entitled to go for that ball. He's absolutely entitled to get players out of the way. For me, excellent goalkeeping.
Talking about Iwasaki, he was capped under 15s for Japan. Went through the Yokohama F. Marinos system. And you can see all those elements of polish and class of being through such a good system. And Weston would be loving having him for a second year. But it's a question of what does he do next year? Depending on the visa that he's under and all those sorts of things, there's so many restrictions and restraints for them. We've seen that with Justin Hutzager announcing that he's departing, as all of a sudden James Kresner gets in behind. And again, he's come up trumps, just tracking back. This time it was Burston coming across.
We've seen some great Japanese players come into this league over the time. You know, I know there's one at New Lambton right now, even in our Northern League One, right? So we are attracting players from Asia, and long may that continue for sure.
Certainly great for the league. That's not the corner that they would have looked for there, Broadmeadow. I think it's great that the mix of, obviously we've got Luis Lara Delgado here from Mexico.
Yes,
we've got Gwelly from Germany, Hutzager, and the other young Jules Boss from the Netherlands as well. So obviously, and Broadmeadow being in the Australian Championship, as we see a change here, and it will be Archibald coming off, Blake Archibald, and he'll be replaced by Ryan Blackburn.
Yeah, you're right, and there's the Japanese boys that are in our competition right now have really added that little bit more, and it also does, it strengthens our league, But if there's players right now that are looking from different countries that are looking at this type of game, they're looking at this and they're saying, you know what, there's some good football being on display here, and for me to develop, Northern New South Wales football can be a fantastic environment for me to develop within. So I think it plays both ways. I think it's a great environment for players to come over into, but also it's great for our league to have this type of talent coming in from different countries. So I think this is something really exciting to talk about in terms of our leagues.
I agree. As McCormick, speaking of other countries, the Englishmen, and we've seen a couple of those come over the years. Ben Diamond, a man who's been here for quite a while now at Broadmeadow. You see plenty of New Zealanders as well. And we've got, of course, Sammy Wara, who's been capped for Fiji and has scored a couple of goals since he's joined. Scored a goal in the OFC Pro League that we were talking about earlier this season. A wonderful goal. Go and check that out. It was a very big man scoring a bicycle, which is not what you often see. It wasn't the prettiest bicycle, but it's a bicycle nonetheless for Sammy. He's been outstanding since he's joined Maitland, though. And again, starting to see the development of some of these Pacific nations as well. I think we'll start to see more of those sorts of players that are the best of their countries trying to put the name up in lights.
And a rising tide lifts all boats, right? So if you're bringing in quality players, if we're filling our competition in from the top, it means the players that's underneath that have got to get better, and have got to push themselves, and have got to, be determined to develop. And
they're also learning from a lot of other nationalities who'll have different processes.
Absolutely.
And it's drawing more eyes to our league. So
absolutely.
I agree. Everyone wins, and today's a great example of that when we've got a number of outstanding marquee players, the likes of Delgado, Wood, McCormick as well, just to name a few. But that'll be half-time and extra time. It is Weston, thanks to, despite us talking about all those wonderful internationals, a young local in Nelson King gets the opening goal in this one. It is 1-0 at the break. We're going to take a short hiatus. We'll be back with you in the second half of extra time. All to play for. Weston, at the moment, have 1 foot in the grand final, but Broadmeadow are going to have a say about that in the next 15 minutes. We'll take a short break here on the Northern New South Wales YouTube channel and rejoin you in about 5 minutes with the second half of extra time. It wasn't quite 5 minutes, but we are back with you. 15 minutes to come, all on the line. The Western Bears on the road away to Broadmeadow, playing 120 minutes for the second week in a row. They went to penalties last week to eliminate Maitland at Maitland. Could they, for the second week in a row, win away from home beyond the distance of the regular 90 minutes? There's some story, some journey to their first grand final in 12 seasons. Meanwhile, Broadmeadow Magic will be doing absolutely everything they can, and you wouldn't put it against them, Ryan Deutsch, to... There's a little bit of debate here about who kicked off in the first half. Chris Hatfield says they kicked off. Broadmeadow says Weston kicked off. Oh, dear. Might have to go to... If only we had, someone upstairs who could watch the video. The referee's taking control here. Someone's giving him the tip. The fourth official must have had something. And it will be Broadmeadow kicking off. To be fair, even if I was Chris Hatfield and I knew we'd kicked off the last half, I'd be arguing the exact same thing, Ryan Deutsch.
I don't for 1 second think that's what he's doing.
No, I'm not suggesting, but I'm saying if I was him, it probably talks more about his character than mine. But hey, if you take every advantage you can get by legal means and stretching that, we see players try and sell things at times.
I'd be too busy trying to get my breath back. That's what I'd be doing. Wouldn't be worrying about.
I was going to say, I generally think everyone's just fatigued and no one probably remembers what happened 15 minutes ago. That's the most likely outcome here, including our officials who've done an outstanding job, because they have pushed above and beyond as well with this extra periods of 15 minutes each way. That ball not what the Magic were looking for, and it'll be a goal kick. And it's always an interesting one here where you start to see the team with the lead take their time a little more with things. Where Roebuck now moves it along. I'm always intrigued because I always wonder, do you do yourself a disservice if the other team then scores late and you go, well, we've burnt an extra minute, 2 minutes that we now don't have to try and get back on top.
The thing is, when you come to Magic Park, you're never going to...
Gormick into the box. Oh, Kresner there again. Beautiful work cleaning up.
You're never going to come out and score 3, 4, 5 goals. It just doesn't happen when you're here. So what Weston are probably thinking is, as was I, to be honest, it's probably one goal that settles this game. So in those moments, even now, it's not sprinting to get there. It's game management. And, that for me is part and parcel of the game. If Australia are in the World Cup final and they're 1-0 up, I don't expect Sam Kerr or I don't expect Geordie Boss to be going and sprinting to get the ball. I wouldn't, So I don't mind Western managing the game here.
Early curling it towards the back post, and Axford up to it again. And he has been since our kickoff 2 hours and 17 minutes ago. And I think with the progression from day to night, it feels like even longer. And the fact that we've just had such frenetic football, I dare say there'll be a lot of these boys that'll be very much looking forward to some sort of rehydrating beverage or two after this, and a very solid sleep tonight, irrespective of which side of the result you're on. There might be a couple more on the celebratory side because they'll have 15 days to turn around.
And do you know, Chris, I'm just sat here thinking now, in the big picture, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think Jim Kresner is going to be so upset with having to play next week if it stays like this. And I'm talking now Australian Championship, bigger picture, okay? We already talked about playing in friendly games where there's nothing to, there's nothing on the line. We're not kicking the ball in anger. You can see players now going down with cramps. So them playing again, them flushing this out their system, preparing for the championship, I don't think...
Ball headed towards goal, cleared off the line by Archbold. I don't know if Roebuck was getting there in time then. That was last-ditch defending again from Weston.
So, yeah, to finish what I was saying, I don't think... of course he wants to win this game, but I don't think in the big grand scheme of things that he's going to be so worried about playing next week in a really competitive game.
Nelson King, Hatfield, little backheel. He loves a backheel, Chris Hatfield. Here he is, the goal scorer, Nelson King. Across in front of Kalgoorlie, a little heavier than he would have liked. Plays it back to McCormick. Could he seal it here? McCormick over the crossbar. It wasn't that far away. Oh, my. And here comes a change. So it'll be James Kresner making way. Xavier Brown. And that was a chance and a half. You feel that would have been enough to ice it.
I'm just looking at Luke McCormick now, and he looks like he's stretching out a little bit. I think that was absolutely tired legs there. He's done everything right. He brought it back inside. He bought himself a little bit of time, but I just think it was tired legs, and he'll be really disappointed with that because he deserves the goal. I think he's been outstanding today in this game, so he'll be really disappointed with that finish.
Ball goes forward now. Body's just getting thrown in left, right, and centre. Brown. A little touch there from behind on King. I think King might have added a little mayo to it, but there's only a foul in the initial part. And here, again, as we touched on before, will be in absolutely no hurry to get things moving now. So just a note from Broadmeadow's season so far this year, Ryan. They've lost 3 games. Do you dare to hazard a guess at what the score was in all 3 of those games? I'll give you a tip. Look at the scoreboard right now. 1-0. Each of their losses has been this season.
Yeah, look, and it's an outstanding season from this group of players. It really, really is. And what I was actually just doing there was looking at the players that are not in the squad today. I talk about Ben Diamond as an example. You mentioned him earlier. Talk about Bailey Wells, who for me 2 or 3 years ago when he was fully fit was the best player in the league by a country mile. There's players here on this list that are not even featuring in this squad.
Yeah, it's quite amazing. Nice little sliding doors moment though in that change. We talked about McCormick coming off as he was getting fatigued. The man that comes on is Ryan Ensor, who has been part of those last 2 premierships and championships here at Broadmeadow. I'll tell you what, if they win the title this year, Weston, he might be able to claim to being the most crucial footballer in local football as the only man to be involved in all 3. Here he is on the ball now, Ensor. He's such a key part of that team last year as well. Playing in defence and midfield. Often coming off the bench as an impact player as he's doing here again tonight. King with the touch is too heavy.
I think Damien Zane's going to be pulling his hair out here. Just keep the ball. Weston just needs to keep the ball. Ryan Ensor comes right underneath to get the ball again. I think it was Jai King out there. Comes right underneath. And we decide to go back inside, give the ball away. Weston, just you're 5-6 minutes away from your first grand final in 12 years. Try and keep the ball.
Still some time to play. Here's some space on offer. And this is where fresh legs take on tired legs. Kalkouli down the left. Gives it. Well, he fired that at Chris Hatfield. I think Chris Hatfield at first thought that was meant for someone else and had some heat on it, but Hatfield will get to the outside, plays it in front for Kalkouli again. Wilson sliding back, does well to not only come in and make the tackle, but force it across the sideline versus taking the easy option to the byline.
So, Chris Hatfield there is a prime example of what I was just saying. The ball gets fired in, he protects the ball, he keeps the ball, he gets his body between the ball and the defender, and then plays a lovely ball into his teammate. But this is, for me, Chris Hatfield, this is what he brings. Look at this now.
It's an experience, although he does turn it over there, but there was 3 red jerseys around him and not much else happening. And head into the 113th minute of this clash. Fuel tanks on empty, drained for a number of these players. The fresh legs will have a chance to shine. Ball comes back to Ingram. He's been on the go since the start. Has this man with the captain's armband, Wilson. Sends it long, headed forward. Blackburn just trying to park himself over the ball. King, the goal scorer. Simmons, a heavy touch, falls now for Regan Jost. He'll take a shot. Who's there? Chris Hurley just blocking it, and the ball spins out wide across the sideline. Such a long time to go to protect this 1-goal lead. Doesn't sound like a lot when you say 7 minutes, but it's going to feel like an age if you're a Western Bears supporter. Jacob Kresner, ball blocked, goes over the byline. A bit of hesitation, but the referee does point for a corner here for Magic. The same corner from which the goal that is the sole one on the score sheet it came from. It'd be almost poetic if it came from the same spot for Magic. Can they conjure something here?
Everyone's in that box now. Everyone's back in there defending for Weston.
They've crowded the numbers in Weston. Headed away, spills out the other way. Wilson heads it down. Simmons looking for it. Touch forward. Chasing down. Not to be. Hatfield is on the bite. Palambini and Kresner are there. Missed touch by Jacob Kresner. We haven't seen a whole lot of those today. We've seen him beaten a couple of times defensively, but we haven't seen many missed touches. The throw-in comes back again. Baker still got that spring of pace off the mark. His agility an asset at all times. Ingram takes a shot. Challenged Roebuck, but not enough. Roebuck takes a knee. I don't think he's proposing to Luis Lara Delgado, but he'll take his time and just manage it and massage it as much as he can. Still 5.5 or so remaining here. That 5.5 minutes is going to feel like an absolute lifetime for one D. Zane.
Especially if Weston keep giving the ball away like that. It's going to be frustrating for him, really frustrating. But what I would say and what I should say is that Weston have put everything into this game, so at times they're going to get their heads up and it's going to look like there's no one up ahead of them, right? That's where they've got to be a little bit composed.
Another change coming here. Zeke Marnes getting ready to come on. But it's interesting because there's a period in the middle of that second half where Weston stopped taking chances. Things started to pull apart for them, and it looked like Broadmeadow were just getting on top. And then all of a sudden, they finished with a surge. They came into extra time with a surge, and they got that goal.
I think Hatfield made a difference when he come on. I think Hatfield makes a difference in terms of he's got quality. One, he can score goals, but he's got quality in terms of his experience, his ability to hold the ball up, ability to bring players in. So Weston stopped going from back to front so quickly, you know, and Hatfield can hold the ball in for him.
I think it's exactly what Damien Zane's looking for with both Hatfield and Ensor, their experience coming on. Ensor,
yeah, for sure,
hasn't quite got into the rhythm of it yet, but undoubtedly will. And you got those two, throw Chris Hurley and Amana Iwasaki, and that's the kind of the core of just setting up that axis through the middle around these young guys who, you know, probably looking at it and wanting to chance their hand. But here comes Chris Hatfield now. Gets a little turn on Jeremy Wilson, up one-on-one with Axford and Chris Hatfield. We talked about his experience. What about that composure? One-on-one, buries it past Daniel Axford. And Weston lead 2-0 deep in the second half of extra time here. And he's all but silenced the Magic crowd at Magic Park. That is a rarity.
Yeah, and look, Magic had to push, right? They had to go for it. They knew there was 5 minutes left. They had to go. They had to leave it a little bit light at the back. And what happened is the ball comes across to Hatfield. Wilson's coming across. He has to come across at speed to try and make the ground up. Hatfield knows he's coming at speed. He can't slow down. Wilson can't slow down to defend 1v1. So all he does is Hatfield, he waits until he comes across, pokes it beyond him. And then, as I was saying earlier, when you get in that position, Chris Hatfield, he doesn't miss those. He just doesn't miss them.
He certainly does not. That's his class. It's his 16th goal of the season. That's 30 goals in the last 2 years. That is some level of consistency. And he's going to be such a key cog for them. But Weston within touching distance of breaking a 12-year grand final drought. And, of course, they'll be looking to go one better than they did back in 2014. One thing they know, it'll be a different opponent this time around because it was Lambton that they lost to 2-0 back in 2014. Broadmeadow, they're going to throw absolutely everything, including the kitchen sink, at these last few minutes.
And look, I think on the back of this performance, I don't think it'll matter who Weston play, because I think they'll fancy their chances. They've been absolutely outstanding tonight, and fair credit to that group of players for Weston. And their coaching staff as well, because they've done an outstanding job tonight.
They certainly have done an outstanding job. They've stuck with Broadmeadow, and again, as we touched on a couple of times, off the back of a 120-minute performance last week too. I'm sure with some of the knocks, Brock Beveridge groin going before the game, Damien Zane will be very much happy after 2 120-minute efforts. The fact that they're going to have an opportunity to have that week off and build into the grand final, and again, no man better suited to steer a team to that point for the first time in 12 years than a guy who has been very successful at a number of clubs in this competition.
Yeah, and we talked about the coaching staff earlier on, right? And we've got to pay credit to Jim Kresner, who's done an outstanding job for the last number of years at Broadmeadow Magic. But Damien Zane has done exactly that. He's done it at a senior level. He's done it at a youth level in terms of developing players with the Newcastle Jets. And you know, I look at the likes of Will Dobson, Alex Nunes, Max Cooper. There's three that I rattled off straight away. Not even talking about the boys that are currently in our NPL system. He's developed those players, along with others at the Newcastle Jets, but he's developed those players. So he can do it at a senior level. He can do it at a youth level. He's one of the best in our region by a country mile. And, you know, if I was an A-League club, I'd absolutely be looking at somebody like Damien Zane for a homegrown coach, an Australian coach that knows how to do it at every level.
Yeah, I know his name's been thrown up a few times when there's been different things happening at the Newcastle Jets, but surely getting him in, you know, even if it is in just a senior assistant role to start with and building on from there, he's got the ability and he's probably in that right age bracket to go and build a bit of a career from here on in. As you say, his development and what he's done here in our local competition as Simmons takes a shot. So for Weston, the last time they managed to actually win a grand final, Ryan, 1995.
1995.
They beat Wolves End 5-0 in the grand final in 1995.
Wow. I wasn't even born. No, I was really. Your eyebrows nearly came off your head then, Chris.
I was like, the Australian sun's really got the better of you. It's just all the wisdom you've got, Ryan. I knew you hadn't packed that into 31 years.
I was only just born, so ease up, huh? Come on.
I thought you were more my vintage than that, so there you go.
Yeah, good on him, and you know, it goes to show the strength of our competition to have different teams in the grand finals year on year. You mentioned Lambton Jaffers earlier on, and now to see Weston there's really exciting.
It certainly is, as we see them now just trying to cling on as we get towards the last stage of this one. Broadmeadow looking for just a last salvo to maybe grab one and then have a flurry at the end. A goal here for Broadmeadow would certainly up the heart rates for a number of people. Simmons takes a strike from range. That just looked like it took a little divot late as well. Jared Roebuck certainly looked nervous. I thought he was going to collide with the ball boys. They're very close.
That's what I hope to see from Jack Simmons in the Australian Championship. And again, me being selfish now, if Jack can get some more minutes in his legs next week in that game, and whether he gets to a grand final or not, but there's another couple of weeks in his tank. So, you know, I said it before, Jim Kresner, of course, is going to be disappointed that he's not walked away with this win and straight into the grand final. But in the grand scheme of things, having an opportunity to have another 90 minutes, prepare effectively, and get ready for the Australian Championships, where they'll go on to represent all of our clubs from all of our region and the whole of the northern New South Wales region. And, you know, I hope that they come out last season into this season.
Ensor with a pot shot here. It's not going to be far away. Oh, what about that? Ryan Ensor from beyond halfway. The former Magic man pulls out some magic at Magic Park against Broadmeadow. The odds of that are absolutely astounding. He's giving the quiet to the crowd. I'm guessing someone's made a point of his stature and physique because he's patting the belly as well. But that is an absolute screamer. That could be goal of the year, and the referee blows full time. Weston Bears are into their 21st Northern New South Wales Grand Final. A chance to break a 31-year drought in 2 weeks' time at Darling Street, and what a win. The scoreboard, to be fair, Ryan Deutsch probably flatters Weston with that last one as well, but what a way to finish.
Look, I don't think it flatters Weston in terms of that they've scored 3 goals. I think it flatters the spectacle, because Broadmeadow Magic were nowhere near 3 goals worse than Weston Bears. What I would say is that both teams left absolutely everything out there today. And you know, to finish what I was saying earlier, I don't think Jim Kresner, in the grand scheme of things, is going to be so unhappy that he's got to play again next week. They are representing Northern New South Wales football in the Australian Championship, and coming off the back of last year, I think they'll go into it in a lot better mind frame. So I'm hoping that Broadmeadow Magic really do well in this year's Australian Championships. But what I would say in relation to Western Bears, you talked about 1995, the last time that they won it. 12 years ago since they were in the last grand final themselves. Massive credit to that club on the year that they open up their brand new facility as well. Okay, they'll be, the attitude in the camp will be so high right now, and so it should be as well. So to the Western players and to the Western coaching staff, congratulations to getting to the grand final. Absolutely good luck within it. But at the same time, good luck to Broadmeadow Magic next week, and absolutely good luck in the championship. If I don't have an opportunity to say it to them between now and then.
Well, it took nearly 100 minutes for our first. They scored 3 in that last 20. It was Nelson King who broke the deadlock from the corner. Then Chris Hatfield and Ryan Ensor, the 2 players we talked about with their experience. And that last one was just eyes up soccer from Ryan Ensor. Yeah. He spotted that the keeper was well out, chanced his hand, and what a way to do it, as I said, for the ex-Magic man. He silenced the crowd here, and they go forward to a grand final. But Jim Kresner will be able to take a lot of positives out of that. He'll have a couple of work-ons. They weren't that far away from it in this game. And I said it before, I think we got to extra time. I will be very surprised if Broadmeadow Magic are not the side who face Weston in the grand final in 2 weeks, and they'll have revenge on their mind. Yeah, absolutely. And but again, I think what we saw tonight was two well